Hello, everybody. I am excited for this week's episode of Beefy Boys Breakdown. We had an amazing card last night, a free card, a fight night card that, you throw a little rinky-dink belt on there. It may have been a pay-per-view. It was a good-ass card. Obviously, no belts are rinky-dink, but you get what I'm saying. That's the only thing separating that card from a pay-per-view. But it was an amazing card. A lot of what I consider to be controversy. Apparently I'm floating out here on an island on some of my hot takes, but I can't wait to fire those off at you. Let's get my beefy brother Harrison on here.
Yeah,
what up, bro?
What up? I should to turn this TV down before I forget and
No,
sparks
cool.
in on us.
Yeah, bro, I got mine on mute over there, too, at the corner of my eye, checking on this Cowboys-Niners game. Which I got to say, at the start of the year, when everybody saw this game on the schedule, I think everybody thought it would have major NFC, playoff implications, and then now it's like the battle for the lottery pick.
Yeah, you thought that would be a game where both defenses were, top in the league. You're seeing, some offensive stars go after it.
Oh, yeah. A lot of injuries, affecting both teams this year. And just, this year didn't go how either team thought it was going to go. But, man, we're here to talk about last night's fights. Beefy Boys Breakdown episode 29. We're almost to 30.
Last card of the year for 2020. Hopefully, for us, 2020 for the UFC, been a good year.
Oh,
but
it's been fantastic. I think they said something like 436 total fights last year. Or over the course of this year,
is that right?
If you add up every single bout that took place, yeah, I think it was in the 400s. The 36 part I kind of pulled out of my ass, but yeah, it was in the 400s at 436 in that range, yeah, for sure.
That's crazy.
But yeah, man, for everybody watching, you see the sick ass new shirt I'm wearing. They are in stock. They are available to purchase. Shoot me a DM at Dreadful Talk Dom on Twitter or Instagram. I accept Venmo, PayPal, Zelle. Whatever the fuck we need to do to get you one of these shirts, I'm willing to do it. Shipping nationwide. Super soft, super comfortable, a little thicker than normal. They're comfort colors, so I sprung for the extra quality. And man, they are fire, man. I'm loving them. But yeah, man, UFC Vegas 17, I think, is what we're officially up to.
That's right. 17 COVID cards this year.
Yeah.
More because Fight Island 6 and 7. So really 24 COVID-inspired cards this year.
And then there was there was a couple in Jacksonville before when it first popped off. Yeah.
Right.
So busy year for the UFC, busy year for the Beefy Boys, but I love it. I wouldn't have it any other way. But yeah, last night delivered just all the way throughout, from the prelims all the way to the main card. And cheers, brother. I got a little dark liquor too.
A little Hennessy, you know what I'm saying, on the Big Rock?
Ooh, there you go. Oh, man. But yeah, man, I guess you want to introduce this first fight? I'll take a little dabski real quick.
Yeah, for sure. So, catchweight bout and very last-minute replacement for Carlton Minus. He is the plus 300 underdog here. They're fighting at 160, which is a weird catchweight. They're obviously meeting at on the late-minute replacement. And he is fighting against Christos Hiagos, who is minus 360. Was more of a favorite than his original opponent was. And honestly, when this fight very first got made, I didn't really see why Hiagos was getting so much action on as far as the betting line and him becoming. He came out as a big favorite and then progressively became a bigger favorite. Now, obviously, once the fight occurred, I understand. I get it, right? I see it. But it's just where did the UFC get him? Because I haven't seen him this whole year. And he's not terrible. And I've seen Carlton Minus look awful twice. Give us Hiagos. What are we doing?
Yeah, man. Minus did not look good.
Literally got his back taken immediately.
Well, taken or given? That's what I want to get into, too.
Gave up his back / had it taken. It was both sides of the coin on that one.
Literally in the first round, halfway through the first round, I wrote down Minus gives up his back every time. It was before I even had to write down who won the round. I was just oh my God. I think in the first round he gave up his back 3 times. It was almost like it was part of his strategy or lack thereof strategy. Because nobody gives up their back, or you shouldn't be giving up your back. And he was just doing it repeatedly. Now, I'll say, I guess to his credit, like he wasn't like getting submitted when he did give up his back. Like he was able to kind of maneuver his way out of it, but definitely
True.
not a good way to make a living giving up your back as a fighter.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, if nothing else, you want to fight for dominant positions, and like he wasn't doing that in the least. I mean, he was giving dominant positions.
Definitely. I mean, so Minus got taken down 3 out of 3 times. Yagos was 3 out of 3 for takedowns in the first round, which is impressive. And I mean, do you think that's enough to give him a 10-8? Or
I scored the first round 10-8 for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
The second round, damn near scored 10-8.
Yeah, it was close. Another dominant round of grapple control from Yagos. Now I don't know if this is spicy or not. I actually gave the third round a Minus, but I'll give it. Yeah, it's kind of like the caveat.
It's Giagos didn't do anything, so Minus has to be the winner for doing something.
Essentially, Yagos gave him the round, not me giving him the round. Like Yagos knew he was up 2 rounds, possibly one of those rounds being a 10-8. He knew he was up by at least 3 points on the scorecard, so he was like, he essentially coasted it out, which is a dangerous game to play. But, he felt pretty confident, and it obviously paid off for him. Yagos gets the unanimous decision. One judge scored at 30-26, which is about not online. We scored at, what, 30-27?
We would have had it. We would have had it 29-27.
29-27, exactly, which is what the middle judge had. And then the last judge gave it 29-28, which –
How was the first round not a 10-8, by the way, for that judge? He was the only one to not give a 10-8 on the first round. And it's just like, how would you not give a 10-8 for that?
Yeah, that was whack. And then on the flip side, I don't really see how you could give Yagos round 3. But, hey, I have plenty of hills I'm going to die on this episode, and this isn't
this ain't the one.
This ain't the one. So, Yagos without a doubt won that fight, and he got the decision. So, yeah, definitely not going to split hairs there. Coverage as the minus 360 favorite. Minus looked awful. Minus just didn't look like he was a UFC fighter. And I gotta say, man, he needs to move out of Anchorage. Like, I get it, you love your hometown, or you're not getting quality training, partners, coaching.
There's just no way. Like, people aren't coming out there to train with you. There's no way.
It's very obvious that he's probably been like wrestling like high school kids and like I don't know, like, does he train with like kids who like parents like want like nerdy kids who like want to stop getting beat up? Like, I don't know. Like, what's going on up there in Anchorage? I mean, I'm sure there's some good athletes, some good fighters, but he's obviously not getting that top-end training that he needs.
The first thing he needs to do is move to anywhere that has good wrestling and learn how to wrestle. I mean, he can't defend a takedown. He can't grapple on the ground. It was terrible, man. Like, that's a core proponent of modern-day mixed martial arts is, like, just the principles of wrestling. And he had none of them.
Yeah, he got dominated by Yagos. I mean, Yagos, he looked good, but I mean, he's definitely not like a world beater. I mean, at least at this point. So,
right.
Yeah, Minus. I'm pretty far out on Minus. I'd be pretty surprised if he doesn't get cut. Maybe he has another fight that they toss him an absolute animal just to kind of mop him up with. But yeah, man, we'll keep it pushing. Definitely don't want to spend too much time on that fight. But on this next fight, man, this next fight was a really fun way to kind of start ramping up the action for the card.
Such a fun fight. Like, shout out Sand Springs. Stand up, Sand Springs.
Yeah, they shouted out.
Tight fight.
That was, man. We got Jimmy Flick coming out of our, home state of Oklahoma. You got to love those Oklahoma guys. I actually had the, DM back and forth with Jimmy Flick a little bit. I want to try to get him on Dripple Talk one of these days. I feel like that could be a possibility. And
yes, sir, bro. Please.
And so shout out Jimmy Flick. Shout out Oklahoma. He's fighting out of Tulsa. Anybody that's from Oklahoma knows that there is kind of that like East Side versus West Side rivalry between like Oklahoma City area and Tulsa area. But we'll still give you your flowers. We'll still give you your love, even though you're from Sand Springs, repping Oklahoma. And yeah, he was the minus 160 favorite, which I was a little surprised at.
Me too.
He was the favorite.
I thought Durden, just from a pure betting perspective this week, had really good value at the plus 140 because I honestly thought this could be a pick'em / Durden to be the favorite.
Me too. Honestly, like, I'll love the Jimmy, but just and the fight's been rescheduled a couple times, but that was due to Durden's fault. He had like an eye infection, so maybe the eye infection. Yeah, pink eye. Stop eating ass, Durden. But,
dirty Durden.
Dirty Durden, been a little too dirty. Yeah, but maybe that's why the betting was in Flick's offer, or obviously the Vegas saw it taking place how it took place. But yeah, Durden plus 140 underdog. They're fighting at flyweight 125, and man, I'll go ahead and give me your analysis of the first round. It was a crazy round. It's like one of those rounds where like a whole fight took place in one round.
Yeah, and I mean, it took place in 3 total minutes even, not even like the entirety of the first. I mean, I think 3 minutes, 20 seconds is the official runtime of this fight. But essentially, Durden comes out, looks more crisp on the feet, immediately takes Flick's back somehow, which was like,
yeah,
I was really surprised by that. Yeah, and then Jimmy Flick is able to essentially kind of work out of the position, get back to standing. They separate. And then they're kind of striking, and Durden's just piecing him up, bro.
Yeah,
Did you think Flick had anything for him on the feet?
No, like I legitimately thought that like Flick was pretty like
No, there's nothing to his game other than his jiu-jitsu. Like
yeah,
everything is rudimentary except for his jiu-jitsu, which is exceptional.
He kind of reminds me of Chase Hooper, who we covered last week.
Yeah.
He reminds me a lot of Chase Hooper. That's not necessarily a diss. They just both have a very similar skill set and very similar deficiencies and very obvious deficiencies. But yeah, needless to say, Durden was piecing him up on the feet to the point where, you know, I'm sure that the Flick bettors that bet the minus 160 were sweating because he was getting pieced up. And then he just flies, he jumps and does this flying triangle where he like jumps up onto him.
Threw a kick and got it caught and then just jumped the whole rest of his body up onto his neck.
It was crazy. It was like some Spider-Man shit. He was like hanging upside down on his neck.
Dude,
so fluid and so athletic. Just like Chase Hooper, how we were saying, like, whenever he's, you know, striking and standing, he looks unathletic as fuck. But then he does this, obviously takes a ton of athleticism, like jiu-jitsu move. And in Hooper's case, it was the Imanari roll. And then in this week on Flick, it was the flying triangle. But yeah, just super athletic moves. Like, you can't pull those moves off if you're not an athlete, but just different kind of athleticism, different type of skill set.
Crazy high-level finish as well because, like, he throws it up. But not only does he throw it up, he gets it locked in probably 6-7 seconds and then starts sliding his leg down to the back of the neck to like kind of create that like guillotine of pressure, right? But then if you notice at the end too, when Homeboy was trying to stand up, Flick actually dug his opposite side arm under the guy's leg at the knee. So anytime he tried to stand, he would just rip up on his knee and sit his hips back down. So pull his neck forward like even further.
Some real like boa constrictor shit. Like the harder you fight, the tighter it sinks in.
That's exactly what it was. And whenever I saw him go for that, I was like, damn, Jimmy Flick has like a high level jiu-jitsu game.
Oh man. I know they're different weight classes, but like a Flick Hooper fight would be a lot of fun.
It'd be a lot of fun.
Or a grappling match if they met like at a catch weight, like submission underground grappling match.
If they could meet at like 135 or 140 for a grappling match, that would be a bunch of fun.
Yeah, that would be cool, man. That'd be cool. I definitely don't want to watch them box, but that would be cool. Flick ends up getting the performance of the night bonus, which I'm super happy for him. Like, I know that 50 G's goes a long way in Oklahoma, man.
It's funny you say that. I said the exact same thing to a buddy when we were watching it, or when we saw the result, because I was like, you know, he's probably going to get a bonus off that. Not a lot of other people have these crazy performances. And I was like, you got to think, for the guys in California, 50 G's isn't 50 G's for the guys in Oklahoma.
No, in Sand Springs, man, you might buy you a house in Sand Springs for 50 grand. Like,
you can damn near pay off half your whole ass nice house in Sand Springs for 50 grand.
Yeah, no, man. I was super happy to see just that money going to the state of Oklahoma, man. I've talked about it on my other podcast, Dreadful Talk, a few times. Like, Oklahoma's economy, even before Corona, had major problems, ranked last in a lot of categories, a lot of poverty, and there's nobody even thinks or talks about it as a national narrative. But Oklahoma, there's parts of Oklahoma that are rough, man, and I'd love to see that money just going to the state of Oklahoma, man, stimulate that economy. Shout out Jimmy Flick, man, because like I said, it reminded me so much of the Hooper fight because Hooper was getting beat up, but Hooper's fight lasted longer, obviously, but it was like a concentrated version of the Hooper fight where if he didn't get that submission and get it quick, he was going to lose. Yeah, he was in trouble, and he knew that and executed. Like, that's the thing, though. It's like, I don't want to, like, frame it in, like, a negative light. Like, there was one thing he really could do to win, and he pulled it off. Like, I feel like you got to give credit for that.
Yeah, like, I guess the narrative we painted does make it sound like he escaped the fight almost. But essentially that was, like, his path to victory. So it's almost like he just switched the road at the fork and was like, we're going down my road tonight. So,
yeah, he freaking grabbed the steering wheel and was like, nope, this fight's going in a different direction. It was real. And like I said, on that front, it was very impressive. Like I said, definitely not going to wow anybody or get confused for style bender on the feet. But man, that grappling, that submission is a real threat to anybody that hops in the ring with Flick. And, just wish the guy much success. Come on, Dreadful Talk, Jimmy. We love you. Big fans. Great performance.
For real.
Super happy you got that performance of the night bonus. And yeah, we'll keep it pushing, man, because this next fight was a lot of fun, too.
So this next fight is going to lead me into a question I have for you, since the UFC is on a break until January 16th. I figure we might do some end-of-year awards as like a special show there.
Yeah, I was thinking of an end-of-the-year Beefy Boys thing, too, for sure.
But one of the awards I'm thinking about putting up some clips and highlighting and doing some nominations for, and then we can obviously just discuss our winner out of the 5 that we'll put up. Chin of the Year, Jamie Pickett might be in that 5.
It was impressive. I don't know if I'll go that far with it, but considering who he was fighting, and like that's what I want to get into is just Nchukwi first team all fit.
That's what I was kind of taking into account is Nchukwi's this insane power striker that was landing power strikes.
Like,
but
so
really Pickett was just tough.
So Tafon Nchukwi is a 26-year-old 4-0 essentially prospect out of Cameroon, which Cameroon produces mad athletes. I believe that's where Joel Embiid is from. Cameroon. A lot of the NBA players that are African come out of Cameroon. Like I said, I'm pretty goddamn sure that's where Embiid's from.
Oladipo's Cameroonian as well.
Okay, yeah. So man, that might be the real Wakanda over there. But they produce some athletes out of there. And, man, this guy's 4-0, a Contender Series guy, shocker. Who else gets a shot at the UFC after 4 fights?
Jimmy Flick, Contender Series guy. Nchukwi, Contender Series guy. Pretty sure Jillian Robertson came from the Contender Series seasons ago.
Yeah, man. But man, so Nchukwi is just, when he walks out, I'm like blinking, rubbing my eyes. I'm like, I thought
he's 185.
This was a middleweight fight. I thought they said this was a middleweight fight. This guy's clearly a heavyweight. Like, I didn't even think he was a light heavyweight. Like, that fool looked every bit of 245, dog. Like, he could go start linebacker for like an SEC school, like in that octagon weight.
Bro, he honestly looks like he's 220. Like, when he's in the octagon, he looks like he's 220. And all muscle, too, like shredded 220.
I think 220 is light. If I was the carny that did the guess the weight thing for a teddy bear, I'm guessing at least 235. He was huge. Like, bro, his neck and traps, like his traps touched his ears.
It's weird because he has that like Takeo Spikes kind of body, right?
Yeah.
Where you're like, he should be 250. But he's 185 somehow.
So at one point, at his biggest, before he started fighting, he was walking around at 290. That's the story. That's the number. He walked around at 290 like a couple of years ago before he got into martial arts.
Holy shit.
Yeah, bro. I mean, that's what it looks like, right? He
still has to walk around at like 240 or some shit then. Like, he probably didn't lose that much weight.
That's what I'm saying, bro. And apparently he had some ridiculous weight cut because like the Bisping and the guys were kind of chuckling. They didn't fully give up the details, but they're like, if you guys knew what we knew, what he was weighing on Wednesday, you would be chuckling too. I think they said something along those lines. So who knows what he came in on Wednesday weighing at. But
I wonder if he was like 210 or 215, like something that's like jokishly over. But he's so muscular. For people that don't know science behind muscle, they hold a bunch of water weight in them, right? The proteins in your muscle fibers. So when you're that muscular, you can actually cut more water weight. So you could be more over closer to the fight and still be able to make it. Just low explanation for someone. That's like why Usman can be who he is in the octagon. Woodley could be who he was. They're so muscular. Yoel Romero, they're so muscular that they can shed that weight off.
Yeah, no, thanks. Good insight on the whole weight cutting tip. And then he was a minus 335 favorite, which it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out why. Like, sometimes this doesn't work, the whole standing the guys side by side and picking a winner. But in this case, I mean, I totally get it.
He was my most confident pick on the card as well. Just winner outright.
And then he was fighting Jamie Pickett. It was his debut as well, which fucking, hey, imagine having to fight a
debut.
Yeah, fuck, man. Plus 270 underdog. They were fighting at middleweight somehow. Like, and it was crazy because Pickett looked like one of those guys that barely cuts weight to make a middleweight.
He looked like Kevin Holland. Like,
yeah.
He looked like he was like, I'm just good to go for 5 rounds of this weight.
Yep, exactly. He looked like he could have easily made welter. He was not a huge, or maybe he was big and just nobody looks thick compared to Nchukwu.
I was gonna say that too. Like, standing next to a guy that we're talking about looks like he's 250. Like, maybe that is what it is.
Yeah, seriously. But man, I gotta say, Pickett gave Nchukwu all that he bargained for, and I think he made this fight way more interesting than probably anybody thought he would, including us.
Dude, his footwork was super impressive. Like, the way he was cutting angles to land some of his shots, but also to get out of the way of some of the bigger shots Nchukwu was throwing. I was impressed. And that's coupled with the fact that he was still getting cracked a few times.
Yes.
And still maintained that footwork even though he was getting clipped.
Yeah, he's maintained the footwork and, like, the confidence. Like, there was never that tail between the legs, like, oh, I'm just trying to survive. Like, he was in the fight to win the fight. He was not backing down. He showed the incredible chin. Man, I mean, he impressed the hell out of me fighting an absolute monster that, like, a lot of guys wouldn't even have taken that fight. Now, granted, in your debut, you know, you kind of got to take what they give you, but, you know, beggars can't be choosers, kind of. But fuck, what a tough debut. Man, so actually, I did this weird thing in round 1 where I wasn't looking at the stats, and I was just kind of watching the fight. And I initially wanted to give it to Pickett, but, like, because Pickett, like I said, maybe I was just impressed of how he was surviving. But then my gut told me, like, man, go look at those numbers. I don't know if Pickett won that. And then Nchukwu on the numbers, his stats were way superior. So I ended up kind of flopping and giving round 1 to Nchukwu. But Pickett did about as good as you can expect a motherfucker to do, kind of, you know, in that situation in round 1.
Yeah, I just felt like in round 1, Nchukwu was pretty much guiding the action of the fight and also bringing the fight to Pickett as well. Like, I didn't think Pickett was doing a bunch of countering with his movement. I thought he was getting hit a lot and then countering based on getting hit a lot.
Yeah, I think I was literally just so impressed that he didn't. His head had stayed attached to his body. But yeah, like I said, I ended up checking myself. I had to be like, no, Nchukwu won that. But, like, my gut, like, I don't know, in the moment, I was feeling froggy last night with my generosity.
Yeah, your scorekeeping last night was apparently pretty wild.
Which was crazy. Like, I wasn't hammered. I had, like, one drink. I was paying close attention. Like, I didn't have any, like, football games on or anything. At one point I was watching that Bay Area 40 water and 2 short verses, though. That was kind of dope.
Oh, my God.
but yeah, so it took me to
round 1. God. Sorry, I'm just out here laughing, throwing my camera around.
Farming your phone, bro. Take it easy.
Yeah.
But round 2 Nchukwu, I thought round 2 was more dominant than round 1. The volume increased. But Pickett fucking caught him with a couple in round 2, kind of staggered him a little bit.
Honestly,
which is crazy.
I thought round 2 was the closest of all of the rounds, to be quite honest.
Really?
Which I thought it was closer than round 1, to be real. I thought
that
round
makes
1.
sense because Pickett caught him in round 2. So on that front, I give you. I see what you're saying.
Well, and, like, I thought that he didn't take as much damage, but Nchukwu started to control the range of exchanges more, which was, like, a weird flip, right? Because for the first round, like, Pickett was doing all he could to keep the range, and then he kind of just was like, I don't care about that this round. Like, let's just see if I can trade with him. And I almost thought that was a better strategy for him.
As insane as it was working better because he was landing more. The other one was the safer bet, but, like, he wasn't going to win the fight doing that.
There was going to be no payout in the first strategy.
No path to victory. That's just survival running mode. Which credits to Pickett for just being a real motherfucker and be like, I ain't here to run. Like, I'm here to bang and fight this absolute monster. But I feel you, yeah. So Nchukwu, good round for Nchukwu, but man, Pickett, like I said, he caught him with that one. But they were both traded. Like, they both landed more in round 2. I feel like give and take. So
and I still said, or like you were saying, I still lean Nchukwu. So, like, I score it heading into the third. I have it 20-18. So you essentially have to see Pickett either get a 10-8 to get the draw or finish Nchukwu. Third round starts. And it's more of the same. And then Nchukwu lands that hard knee to the body and drops Pickett. Finally drops him.
He almost finished him.
I thought Tognoni could have called the fight. Because he started warning him about don't hit the back of the head. And I was like, yeah, but Homeboy is literally just shelling up. Like, he's
Yeah.
not defending.
Yeah, I'm glad he didn't stop it. I see what you're
Me
saying.
Me too, because
I see what
Pickett
you're
recovered
saying.
immediately after that. But I've seen refs stop a fight for less. So
True.
at 185, when you have a murderer on top.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
feel you. The argument could be made. Me personally, I'm glad they gave him a chance because he did eventually recover. And then, but yeah, Chookway almost finished Pickett in round 3. But I gotta say, talk about massive hole in your game. Whenever Pickett, like you said, was shelling up, anybody like with any type of jiu-jitsu belt, like literally even like a very beginner belt, like would have been able to get a rear naked choke in that situation. Like it was there for the take, and his neck was exposed. He was completely shelling up. He wasn't intelligently defending. Essentially, like the freaking sub was there for the taking. And I'm no expert, but I'm just saying, even I saw like anybody that's been to 3 weeks worth of jiu-jitsu classes would have gotten the sub there.
Bisping and Cormier agreed with you wholeheartedly. I mean, they were literally almost yelling for try a sub, do anything.
Well,
but
that was the theme. That was a theme throughout the night. There was like subs there for the taking that weren't capitalized on, which you don't see every day. But
true, very true. Much love, G baby.
Yeah, thanks,
appreciate
G baby.
It, bro.
We love you, man. Thanks for everybody that tunes in live on Instagram at Dreadful Talk Dom, at Harrison_Madden. If you're watching on a different platform, listen on a different platform, feel free to check us out live, be part of the action on the morning after fights here on the West Coast. So
how did you score this fight overall?
30-27 in Chookway. I didn't make it complicated. I didn't, apparently which the judges all disagreed with me. Because the judges' scorecards were 30-25, so that's 2 10-8 rounds for those that don't know.
I don't know how the fuck you score, because I thought round 3 was 10-8. I gave it 10-8, so I agree with 30-26.
That's cool.
That 30-25, I was like, God damn, you just hate Jamie Pickett? Like, fuck.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I feel you. I mean, I guess maybe that judge loves ring control and gave round 1 a 10-8 off of ring control.
I could say like the ring generalship combined with the little bit of damage lead, because the damage lead was tiny in the first round, right? It was more about the way the fight was occurring and taking place.
But can you give a guy 10-8 for that?
Yeah,
I feel you. So I don't get it, but the 30-26, two judges 30-26, they both agree with you. So like I said, I'm not mad at it, and Chookway definitely won that fight. But Pickett, it's one of those things, and I don't do this often, not trying to do the participation trophy or moral victory, but he did about as good as he could have been expected to do. I mean, I don't know. There's people that'll disagree with me. Maybe he would disagree because he's a competitor, but I think he has, nothing to hang his head about. He performed well given the circumstances.
I would say the betting world, Vegas, absolutely agrees with you in that, because in Chookway to get the KO or the finish was a big, big line that people were on. So I think that for Pickett to go all 3 rounds showed a lot more durability from him, and honestly, like, pretty good distance control. It needs some work, but
yeah.
I mean,
I think
he's got skill.
I think if Pickett fights another actual middleweight, like, he'll be just fine. Like he was essentially fighting a heavyweight, or if you want to be generous, light heavyweight. But that guy would have to still have a huge weight cut to make light heavyweight. I don't give a fuck what anybody says.
And Chookway making 185 shocks me. It just shocks me.
I mean, maybe it's sustainable. I don't know. I'll say that, I mean, his game has massive flaws. Like, he can be beaten.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
His only path to victory is just to maul people. And I'll say that his hand speed was pretty slow. Like his hand speed looked like a light heavyweight or a heavyweight. It didn't look like middleweight hand speed.
I think if you put him up against Buckley or Holland, he gets starched by both those guys.
See, I don't like him against Buckley because I feel like they kind of both trying to do the same thing, and I think Chookway would overpower him. But I think Holland. But see, Holland's elevated himself to remove himself from these type of conversations at this point. You know what I'm saying? He's top 10 now. So, but Buckley, I mean, I would love to watch the fight, but I would not love to bet Buckley in that fight because I feel you think he would just beat him to the point of like he would get there first. I feel you like the speed advantage would be massive for Buckley.
It's like Kasonganai and Buckley, like that knockout he scored, the crazy highlight reel knockout. Kasonganai is really, really similar to Chookway in the sense that, like, they both throw these crazy hard strikes, but they don't come that fast.
True.
Buckley's
Yeah,
kind of similar to them in that aspect as well.
that's what I'm saying. Like, that's my point. I'm not like trying to disagree. It's just like I think that they're both kind of in that same lane of just like bruiser, powerful, athletic power punchers that are trying to get the stand-up knockout finish. And I don't know. I mean, don't get me wrong. Would it be fireworks in the octagon? Fuck yeah, it'd be a lot of fun. But as far as just like picking matchups that I think Buckley has the advantage in, I don't know. It might be. I feel like he may be in Chookway just like a bigger Buckley in certain regards, but obviously less athletic.
Yeah.
But I feel you. It'd be a fun one. It'd be a fun one. It'd be fireworks. I'm not mad at it. It'd be a weird, just visual matchup of Buckley walking in there at 182 and then fight. Like, that'd be wild.
Dude, imagine seeing Costin and Chookway in the ring across from each other.
See, and that's crazy. Oh,
no, not in a fight. I just mean like the first team all body. Like, holy shit! Like, these are inflatable balloon animals. Like, what are we talking about? This is crazy.
Yeah, both of those guys' weight cuts are just. I mean, good on them if they keep making it. I don't know. Yeah. So in Chookway, he gets his win in his UFC debut. He's only 26. He really, really needs to hit the mats. I'll say, though, for an absolute yoked ox, his fucking cardio held up pretty decent. I mean,
he looked really good. Even in the last 80 seconds, like he was leading a bunch of the action on the feet and to close the fight. So I was pretty impressed with it, to be honest.
Definitely, man. We'll keep it pushing, but that was a fun fight, and Chookway's a very interesting guy to keep an eye out, moving forward, just pure specimen-wise. And then Jamie Pickett, like I said, man, hold your head up. I'm looking forward to watching your next fight, hopefully against like a more normal human being and see what you got, when you're not having to like completely alter the strategy to overcompensate for just this glaring mismatch. But yeah, man, so this next fight, we got Jillian Robertson, who I am a fan of, at minus 115 favorite. She was the 13th ranked, or they're fighting at flyweight, right?
125, weakest division in the UFC.
Definitely. Women's flyweight is weak division for sure. But, that's why I felt confident in Jillian Robertson going into this fight, but we'll get into it. Tyler Santos, though, 16-1 up-and-comer, who's only a minus 105 underdog. So, I mean, the Vegas essentially had it as a pick-em, as a coin flip.
Yeah, I would say this was essentially a pick-em. Only way you were getting value here was to take Santos to win a decision or Robertson to win a submission, which is their path to victory. As I'm sure you knew coming in, like, we love Jillian Robertson, red hair Robertson. Flashy BJJ girl.
Yeah,
it was a tough night.
I'll openly admit that I didn't know a ton about Santos coming into this fight, but I've watched multiple Jillian Robertson fights, and I know she's a badass grappler. I was actually texting Fillmore during this fight, and I was like, "Oh, watch this! Robertson's a badass grappler."
I know you got troll texted back by Fillmore if he did watch that fight.
Yeah, definitely. But man, so I felt good about Robertson going into this fight, but I gotta say, whenever you know a lot more about one fighter than another, it can be dangerous for picking, just for people, casual bettors and people that are getting new to betting. And just if you know a ton about one fighter, but not a ton about another fighter, always question how much you truly know about how the fight's going to take place, because it takes two to tango. But I gotta say, man, the fact that Robertson got dominated on the ground, man, fucking did not see that coming at all, bro.
Crazy, right? And you know what's even weirder is whenever I was doing my breakdown of the matchups this week coming into it, I noticed in Santos's fight against Mayra Morella, I can't remember her other name, but she's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu girl from Brazil that she's recently fought in the UFC. Did the same thing. Got on top, just stayed in the guard, landed heavy shots, and essentially just defended any sort of attack that could have been thrown her way. Really good at getting out of the arm bars or realizing when they were coming as well.
Yes.
Because Robertson did lock up some slick arm bars and almost had a straight arm bar in the third round that Santos just kept defending well on.
Yes. Also, Robertson, and early in the fight, and there would kind of be a theme throughout the fight that essentially bit her in the ass, and some could say is the reason why she lost. She kept pulling guard.
Yeah,
like
she wanted to fight on the
dramatically, like,
ground.
yeah, she wanted essentially kept like just for those that don't know, pulling guard is whenever you essentially go to your back and try to pull the person on top of you because people that are super good on jiu-jitsu can be dangerous off their back and throw submissions off their back. But MMA kind of 101 and would tell you, it's kind of dangerous to be on your back. Right? So it's a give and take thing where she thought she would come out on top and it would be worth the risk or gamble. It's a gamble, and the gamble did not pay off. It bit her in the ass.
Really bad, dude. Like the damage
time,
she was wearing looked awful as well.
Yes, the first time she pulled guard, I gave her the benefit of the doubt. It's like, yeah, I'd pull guard too if I was Jillian fucking Robertson, like one of the better female grapplers in her division. Like I get it. Like, but when that very glaringly and obviously did not work, the fact that she did it once, maybe even twice more in the fight,
2 more times, yeah.
I wasn't a fan of that fight IQ. It definitely made her look more like a one-trick pony and just showed lack of fight IQ. I mean, if the whole, if they say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, that was broke, so get to fix it.
So fixing it,
yeah, exactly, man. But yeah, so round one, Santos had the nasty ground and pound, the dominant top position, and that would kind of be the theme of the night. Second round, Santos grapple control, and then that's whenever the damage started to really pile up for Robertson. Nose was definitely busted, I think.
Did you score any round for Robertson?
Nope. And if
I didn't either. Which judge, like, what round did the judge give to her?
And I gave round 3 a 10-8 for Santos.
Me too.
Me too. Yeah, so 30-26 was what 2 judges scored it as, and I think we're right in line with that, with our scoring.
That's exactly what I had it as.
I literally wrote 29-28 question mark, and like Bisping and Cormier, they called it out too. Like,
who the fuck? Like who?
Like maybe that round that she got close to the arm bar, maybe, but not like that's literally her only bright spot. Like you can't give somebody a round for almost getting a submission and then getting on their back like the whole rest of the.
It doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah. So bizarre, but fucking surprise, UFC judges. Like I said, at this point, as long as the right person wins, I'm trying not to like split hairs like that. But that's almost just as bad because it you know what I'm saying? If one out of the 3 judges were, dumbasses, if another one's a dumbass too, I mean, we got like controversy on it. It's just why flirt with this disaster and why be bad at your job more? You know what I'm saying? Like why?
I honestly, moving on from here, man, like there's guys like I don't think should be brought back by the commission to judge. Like Chris Bell is one of those judges that can routinely fucks up decisions for people. Routinely fucks up decisions.
I'm currently watching The Wire right now. And, like, The Wire, for those that don't know, it's a show about, like, corruption and, like, undercover police and drugs.
It's a great show.
Phenomenal show. It's just really opened my eyes, like, because, like, now, like, when I see shitty judging like that is, like, whoever that judge is can't be fired because he has some dirt on the boss who took some money from somebody. Like, I swear, I, like, look at things through, like, a corruption lens now, like, all these like San Francisco headlines. Like you want to know a crazy headline that from San Francisco Chronicle the other day? There's been like 630 something fentanyl overdose deaths in San Francisco this year in 2020, and only like I think 165 COVID deaths. But yet San Francisco has the loosest drug laws and the tightest corona.
Yeah. What the fuck?
Like and then that's the same where like Pelosi and all these fucking corrupt ass, like, man, that shit is like The Wire is just like blew my mind wide open on all this corruption.
You guys have 4 times as many fentanyl deaths as COVID deaths?
And and if you get arrested for selling fentanyl in San Francisco, you're back on the street the next day. Like that's a bailable offense. Or actually, I think it's a no bail offense. I think they do no more cash bail in San Francisco now. So they just process you, let you go to your court date. There's a guy they're
bro. Those are like murderers.
He's been arrested selling fentanyl 3 times on the same corner in the same week. Like that shit. Like no, I'm telling you, bro, it's crazy. Like it really is. Like, and it sucks, man. Because I'm not shitting on San Francisco. San Francisco is one of the like best places in the world. It just. And part of what makes it great is kind of the recklessness and like the lawlessness and the it's wild, man. Like people think of San Francisco as like, you know, like Priuses and you know, coffee shops, but like it needs to have more of like a New Orleans type connotation. Like it's like
Really?
wild. It's wild. And man, so I don't know, off topic, but goddamn it, shit is corrupt. And when I see, to bring it full circle, when I see blatant shitty judging and guys that never get fired, like they said, The Wire, I'm just like, this
You're
guy
like,
has fucking
something's
dirt.
there.
This guy
Yeah.
has dirt on somebody. But anyway, we'll keep it pushing. Santos looked phenomenal. I mean, I think that she deserves to just take Robertson's 13th ranking. And I mean, I don't know if Robertson maybe drops to 15 or falls out of the top 15. She looked pretty awful.
For Robertson, I'd like to see her take some time off and reinvent the way she approaches her fights, because you can't just only rely on jiu-jitsu. And I know that she looked great in her last 3 fights doing just that. But at a point in the UFC, they're going to start giving you girls like Tyler Santos that will never work on.
Yeah, Santos is a killer, man. She impressed the fuck out of me. Like, she looked like athletic as fuck and just a badass, man. Like I said, I don't want to, you know, focus only on Jillian Robertson, because Santos came out of this smelling like roses, dominating a grappler on the ground. I mean, fuck, I think her stock
Landing
rose.
some heavy ground and pound in that guard as well.
Yeah, I mean, how many 125 women have like a legit brutal ground and pound? I mean, like that was like next level.
Like
So, I mean,
2 or 3, yeah, like
yeah,
very
yeah.
few, very few.
I could see Santos going on, and what we already mentioned was a very thin, you know, aka weak division. I could see Santos making a run, making some noise. I really care. Her skill set seems like there's not a ton of holes.
Yeah, I mean, I like Tyler Santos, and to be 16-1 means that
17-1 now.
Yeah, true. 17-1. She's obviously lost a fight and learned to not repeat that same mistake that lost her that fight, because she's had these 2 nice win streaks built around that loss. So,
yeah, man, and we'll keep it pushing. This next fight, I want to talk about this next fight with you. This next fight was kind of weird, a lot of fun, a bizarre matchup.
It was like, dude, this fight was like trash. Like, you know what I mean?
I appreciated like the spectacle. I'll be completely honest. Like,
this is 6'3" versus 5'6". They're fighting at 195. Hey, Darren Wynn does not look bigger than Tafon Nchukwi, but weighs 10 pounds more, and literally is shorter than. He's like as tall as Nina. Like bro.
He didn't cut a single pound.
And he fights at 205 sometimes. What the fuck is that? What is that, dude? Like he should be at 170. Like,
No,
or 155.
I fucking took just like a fat dab and was like, oh man, let's see what happens here.
Dude.
Like, oh man, it was. See, like I said, I don't know. I looked at it from a glass half full. Like maybe I don't know. I was just like, man, let's have some fun here. But yeah.
Dude, Darren Wynn looks like a shitty video game character. By the way, the placement of his tats, what his tats are, like Nike swoosh on the rib cage, praying hands, middle of the back. You know what I mean? Like he has the most douchebag tats I've ever seen in my life. And is also only built the way you'd find in a video game. 5'6", 195? That's some shit I wouldn't do to my UFC character on the game, but real life did to him.
Oh my god, yeah, no, it was like I said, man. My jaw dropped. I was laughing. I was fucking just like I said, getting high. I was like, man, what's gonna happen here? So yeah, Darren Wynn, 5'6", fighting a catchweight bout at 195.
Catchweight was catching fucking desserts in his mouth on the way. It's unbelievable, dude. He's catching weight on the way up. You know what I mean? Oh my god, dude.
Dude, it was so bizarre. But surprisingly, only a plus 155 underdog. And then he's fighting Antonio, and you already know I'm going to have problems with this. Arroyo.
yeah. Hey, Brazil.
Spelled Arroyo. Good old Antonio Ahoyo. I'm going to say it. Fuck me. And
This fight was a pure spectacle.
Yeah, he was 6'3", minus 175 favorite, which that kind of should have told you, like, the fact that he wasn't like a plus 500 favorite. I mean, a minus 500 favorite.
Being
like,
9 inches taller.
Yeah, tells you all you need to know. Really. I gotta say, Wynn fights out of Gilroy, which I don't even want to claim this guy, but that's like 30 minutes south of San Jose. It's like considered like the edge of the South Bay.
Yeah, he's DC's training partner for wrestling.
Yeah. He trains with DC, which, goddamn it, you know what else they do after training? Hit the buffet for sure.
Yeah, DC stays thick as fuck, and Darren Wynn's like, I'll eat with you.
That's what I'm saying.
They're
like,
eating partners, not even training partners.
They don't need to be allowed near each other, much less training with each other.
It's
Jesus
one of them
Christ.
shows up to fucking practice like gummy worms, the other has chips, and they're like, "You want to trade?"
Seriously,
Just fat as fuck, dude.
Yeah, man. However, all right, Wynn finishes with a total of 12 takedowns. I don't necessarily want to go round by round on this one. I mean,
I don't either. We don't need to go round by round. Darren Wynn is an amazing wrestler, like was for Team USA Wrestling. But the whole fight is one long 15-minute window of the same shit. Up and down.
Yeah, I mean, like, because I kind of wanted to not give Wynn credit for these takedowns because he would take them down and he'd get right back up.
The first round I didn't. Like, I did score the first round to Ahoyo.
You did? Okay, that's what I was going to ask you, if you did any rounds to Ahoyo. See, like,
the first,
I wanted to.
Did more damage.
I wanted to, but I just, like, 4 takedowns is still 4 takedowns. Like, I don't know. Like, if it would have been 2 or 3 takedowns, I would have given it to Ahoyo. Like, 4 is like a lot, bro. Like, that's like a lot. That's like,
and that fourth one literally ended the round too. Like there were like 30 seconds left, and it was like, "Hey, bro, just survive." And then Darren Wynn was like, "Nah," and just take him.
I literally like didn't want to give him the round. Like I like literally wanted Ahoyo to beat him up. I wanted Ahoyo to just stand on the outside and
just rock him, sock him, robots.
Yeah, because he like, why didn't he? Like that's what he gets.
Bro, and what's even better is he started to gas out from getting up so much in the first round, so he couldn't even throw hard shots in the second and third.
Yeah. Wynn's gas tank was dog shit, and like and they kept saying it was because of the
They both
weight
had
cut.
terrible gas tanks, both of them.
But I was like, yeah, but the fat guy's supposed to have a gas tank. The guy with the 6-pack that didn't even have to finish his weight cut. Because they kept saying that, right? Like the broadcast kept saying, "Oh, that weight cut's brutal for Ahoyo. He's 6'3". I was like, the catch weight cut? Is that what you're talking about? Like, unless there's no way he doesn't fight at 2. Usually he's a middleweight, right? Like that's what or else there wouldn't be a point of a catch weight if he was a 205, or that would be a harder cut. So like, if you're doing a catch weight fight, you do not get the weight cut excuse. You don't. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm not giving it to you. But, like, the Bisping, and they kept bringing it up. Just like, oh, that weight cut. Like the weight cut to catch weight? Like, what are we doing here? The weight cut to 10 pounds overweight? Like,
right, yeah. Like, you mean your plus 10 pound above average weight cut? Like, what are you fucking talking about?
Yeah, but they just kept, like, throwing out that excuse. And granted, I think DC was trying to not be overly biased, like, you know, and just nut ride his friend. But, hey, I don't know. It was a shit show, like we said. Wynn ends up – I gave Wynn all 3 rounds. I gave it 30-27. I
had 29-28, but essentially, like, I would – if we just looked at it as a whole, like you'd said, Darren Wynn won the fight. Like, no question.
In round 3, Wynn finally started to land some ground and pound and actually be effective with the takedowns.
So weird, right? He actually started to do anything with all those takedowns.
Yeah, so I mean, Ahoyo gassed out. I hate how he says his name. I hate how foul it is. You're right. There's a lot to dislike about this fight, but it was a spectacle. It happened. We covered it, and we'll keep it pushing.
Dude, Darren Wynn, the dream catcher on the shoulder. Like, these are the worst tattoos I've ever seen in my life on a non-video gamed human.
Especially out here in Cali, like there's no reason to have that shitty a tattoo.
Like the concepts were bad, and then the art was like a 6 out of 10 as well. Like it was like, okay, it's okay.
Oh
Fuck,
man. Now this next fight, I already know how you feel about Sajara and Eubank, so I'm gonna
you do whatever you want with this fight. I'll pass. I'll tell you I scored it, but I pass.
Go ahead and introduce it real quick so I can take it down.
Yeah, I got you. So at 135, you have Pani Kianzad at plus 140. fighting Sajara Eubanks at -160. What's weird is these girls have fought a lot of similar opponents, common opponents, and they will lose to ones that, like, so Kianzad's beaten a girl that Eubanks has lost to. Eubanks has handled a girl that Kianzad lost to. So it's like there's no MMA math you can do in this fight. You just got to watch them fight. And I hate Sajara Eubanks.
Yeah.
I want her to be out of the UFC.
Going into this fight, her record was 7-5, which, I mean, that's like
better than 6-5 like it was.
Yep. But now we're kind of back to the same boat after this one. But yeah, but I gotta say, I guess, to say something nice like about
she was more active this fight than I've ever seen her be. Like, shout out to Eubanks. She actually looked way better in this fight than I've seen her yet.
And the rankings McGee and me like the 13 versus 14 matchup. It's a damn shame that Eubanks is ranked 13, though. I'll say that. And yeah, and these are both ladies we've watched fight before. I gave round 1 to Eubanks. The grapple control did not a lot of damage, just like a dominant position.
Just literally held the fight in one space, which is what she always does, and is why I don't like her.
Yep. And then now I gotta say though, I always love in any sport, whether it's football, basketball, MMA, like essentially halftime adjustments. I know there's no halftime in MMA, but in around like like
hockey. Hockey's 3 periods, intermission adjustments.
Exactly.
Yeah, like, you're totally with it.
Like but I love that. Like I love whenever like shit's going wrong, we pivot and shit goes right. Like and that's essentially the story of this fight. Because like Kianzad, in my opinion, lost round 1, but then won round 2 and 3 by keeping it on the feet.
That's exactly how I broke this fight down. I mean, almost word for word. Like the rounds that stayed on the feet, Kianzad won. The round that went to the ground, Eubanks won. And that was exactly how you thought this fight would go. Yeah,
that was both fighters' path to victory. Man, Eubanks soft around the middle. I think it affects her cardio. I mean, I think she should really like just get it, not even cut weight, just literally get in shape and be a flyweight. And I think she could like probably like dominate those girls.
Just be a different human, Eubanks, because I don't like you outside the arena, the octagon either, bro. Like your interviews are bad. Your fucking mouth guard pisses me off.
Not the most likable fighter. Kianzad, I'm actually glad Kianzad won this fight because we can kind of start working Eubanks definitely out of the top 15 and maybe out of the UFC.
Bro, 7-6 is such a salty fight record, and then the way she fights girls is fucking horse shit.
Yeah, it's like if you're 7-6, but you're in a super electric, like it's either knockout or get knocked out, like a Mike Perry type of fighter that's 7-6, you're gonna get more of a longer leash. But like, if you're like, because like if you're a boring grappler, like the whole like you better be dominant, like you know what I'm saying, like and so you can't. It's like not having your cake and not eating your cake too. Like she has like no like redeemable quality.
This fight made my, you know what? I shouldn't even be mad at this fight. It made my parlay card because I bet this fight would go the distance because neither of these girls have had a finish in either of their last 7 fights.
That's a smart bet.
That's just so boring, man. It's just so boring to, like, they each could fight. In 14 fights, not one of them nor their opponents could finish any of them. 14 fights.
Right. That's like every negative stereotype about women's MMA. Like, oh, it's not as...
There's no explosivity. There's the lack of technique. Like, there's plenty of things people say. But
that plenty of fighters prove wrong, but these...
Exactly, Eubanks, like, embodies those wrong principles.
Just like every negative stereotype of a women's UFC fighter, for sure, man. Kianzad, we haven't mentioned a lot of underdogs cash. Like, not necessarily, like, surprise underdogs, but it's just the number, like, being an underdog, like... Santos.
You got Santos win, Kianzad.
So yeah, plenty of underdogs won last night. That's always fun. But yeah, we'll keep it pushing. And then this next fight was cool. I really enjoyed this.
This fight was so much fun. Much fun.
We had Anthony Pettis, the 12th ranked welterweight, at a -200 favorite. And as crazy as it is, I was like, God, how old is Pettis now? 38? Like, is he getting
33, right?
33.
Yeah.
He's been fighting since he was like could barely enter a bar. And,
he was on the Wheaties box when he was 25, so that's the reason I knew he was still young.
Yeah, definitely, man. So just super cool, because That makes a difference. Like, I'm not like, it really does. He has a
But
lot of mileage.
okay, great point. Because for 34, his scar tissue is crazy. Like he has like Nate Diaz level scar tissue. Like he got cut open immediately in this fight from it.
Definitely. He's been in some absolute wars. Fighting Alex Morono, plus 170 underdog. And we've done a Morono fight, I believe, on Beefy Boys.
Have we ever? He got starched in his last fight.
Do you remember who it was?
Oh, I'm about to look it up real fast because he got the lights like put out, dude. It was tough. And
then no, it's all good, bro. You don't gotta look it up. It's fine because I want to ask you about round one because I had round one super close. Like Morono had the grapple control, but Pettis won every striking exchange and ended the round on top. Like I don't know. I really didn't know. Like, what do you think about round one,
dude? So there was a crazy first round, right? So Pettis had his back taken for the first 2 minutes to open the fight, right? But literally the whole second half of the round, like if you hit 238, I'm pretty sure is the time remaining in the first round. Pettis starts to like open up and is winning that half of the round. But Morono finished, I think, strong in the last 30 seconds or 25 seconds, maybe even 20 seconds.
Pettis ended the round on top, though.
Yeah, right. But like Morono's like energy, it seemed, or like his ability to like combat what Pettis was doing, started to flip around. Then Pettis gets that takedown, which shows his veteran like savvy, essentially. Like,
he's fought like, so smart.
Oh, the whole fight, super smart.
First round, he opened the fight with that stupid ass kick, slipped, and got his back taken. But then after
maybe that's why he fought smart, because he fucked up and then was like, you know what, I just got to fight him. Like I just need to do me. I scored it 10-9 for Morono, but like literally razor thin. Not mad if I scored it for Pettis.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm actually cool with giving that first round of Morono too. I mean, having that much time on the back. I mean, but Pettis, it's not like he got dominated by any stretch. Razor thin, super close first round. I agree with that. And then round two, Pettis, that we all know and love, showed up to the party because it was just crisp, beautiful striking, unorthodox kicks, the whole. Everything you want to see from a Showtime Pettis fight, he brought out of the old tool bag in round two.
I was impressed with Pettis in round two, man. Like he looked like old school Anthony Pettis, which we don't get to see that often anymore. You know, it's like
how
those
many
guys
times. Oh, go ahead, bro. Sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say when those guys have those flashes of greatness, it's like, fuck it, man. It makes me want to go back and like appreciate them in the moment whenever it was happening because I didn't appreciate it back then, obviously. But it also like makes me wish that like they were still here too.
Yeah. Well, it's just like I'm just so glad to see it go well because I feel like the last 10 fights that we've seen, like an older fighter, not older, but a veteran fighter, kind of trying to rejuvenate the career. We've just seen it go wrong like so many times. Now, granted, Pettis is younger than a lot of those guys that I'm talking about, but that's what it felt good just to watch. One of those names that we all know and love still perform like the names that we all know and love instead of having to like, assign this sentimental value. Like, no, like that's still providing, it's, I don't know. I really enjoyed it. And then in round three, man, Pettis, like you said, he woke up in round two, but in round three, it just got even more gorgeous. That spinning wheel kick, like I said, I mean, just busting out the bag of tricks and just giving us that showtime, baby.
That wheel kick was beautiful.
It was gorgeous.
I should give a little bit of credit to Alex Morono. His last fight was against Reese McKee. Yeah. And that was the one where the mouthpiece went under the ring and they had to stop it for forever. And McKee has an insane chin, and Morono won that fight for sure. The fight before that, he got starched.
Okay.
Starched. Neither here nor there. I just want to give Morono credit.
For sure. And, good call, call.
But, yeah, like you were saying, man, Pettis in the second round looked way more athletic with his striking. It looked like he was way more in control of the fight. I mean, it was a close stand-up round. Like no one got taken down, right, in the second round, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't believe so. I think from the second and third round, it was pretty much a stand-up fight, which obviously favors Pettis, and obviously was
for sure.
And it was intentional. Like Pettis wanted to keep it on the feet, and he was the veteran fighter, and he established his game plan.
So as close as the first was, and like you could go either way with it, right? I thought 2 and 3 were way more clearly Pettis. If that first round was a toss-up, 2 and 3 had to be Pettis.
Oh, without a doubt. And I mean, and all three judges agreed with this, pretty much scored the same way. Unanimous 29-28. So, I mean, they actually got it right for fucking once. Now,
crazy, right?
Super. We always like to kind of talk about these implications of these fights, not just the fights themselves. But Pettis, man, especially after a really, really good performance, said he's going back down to 55.
And I'd like to see him stay at 70. I don't know why. What, bro? What? Why? People do this all the time at 170. What's for you at 55? Killers? Straight fucking killers? Like
more killer. I think. I mean, I don't know. I gotta say that I think when Pettis looks himself in the mirror and looks at the top end of 170 and the top end of 55, I think he fits in better with the 55. I think that's what he thinks. Like, because I mean, against a guy like Usman, I mean, I know Usman does with everybody. He's way too small to fight. Or if he's fighting guys like
Covington, Usman, RDA.
Imagine if he
Masvidal.
And we'll get into it. I think Pereira called him out, but if he was in the same octagon as Pereira, that would just look almost as absurd as the Nchukwu fight. Like literally,
or like Jeff Neal fighting Pettis. Yeah, like
that's what I'm saying, bro.
Don't look right.
He's the lightweight. So on that simple thing, like I think he could get up to the top 5 at welterweight, or like compete with like those guys, but that upper echelon of those big ass gnarly.
I will say, like, the top 5 to 10 welterweights are like a different breed of welterweight than the rest of those 170s.
Yeah, he could. Yeah, no, I
think you know what it is, bro. I think that there needs to be the separation of classes here, where you have a 65 weight class and a 75 weight class, because you have these guys that could make, let's say, 175, so they suck the extra 5 off and get to 170. But then you have plenty of guys that could make 161, 162. But that's not a weight class, and the extra 7 pounds they cannot do to 55, so they have to go 70. So there's some guys that just get put there. Like I think Mike Perry's one of those guys that just gets put there, even though he talks about how he can barely make, or how he barely makes 70, and that he wants to go to 85. And it's like, Mike Perry, do not go to 85, dude. Like you're gonna get fucking destroyed.
Yeah, destroyed for sure. Man, Pettis. So he's ranked 12th, but he's essentially going to give up his ranking if he goes the lightweight.
Where does he fall in lightweight?
Pettis Felder?
That's fun. That's so much fun. That's so much fun.
I feel like we say like Felder for like every like lightweight want a fun fight, but
I mean you can give me Pettis Cerrone.
I don't want to see that.
At 55?
I don't want to see Donald Cerrone fight anymore. I'm like Dana. I'm
oh wow, you're really there with it.
Yeah, bro. And like I'll be real. I think that does Pettis a disservice, because I think Pettis is trying to fight the like veteran living off my name like stigma, and taking fights like Donald Cerrone does, like that only like furthers that like oh yeah,
that's
you're
fair.
just signing up for these old guy fights, you're just living that old guy lane. Like I don't know. I feel like
okay. How about Islam Makhachev? Give him a young guy at 55. If he really wants to earn his spot in 55, give him the 12th ranked guy at 55. See if you can beat him.
Because he's 12th ranked 170. I like it. I mean, that's a fun, tough fight.
It's a tough fight,
I don't know if he wins it, but
right. The thing is, he could win it though, right? Like maybe.
Without a doubt. Yeah. So there's a path to victory, like a wild. I mean, it's gonna be fireworks for sure. And
it's a great name for Makhachev. Makhachev needs a fucking name.
True. I like that. I like that a lot. Like I said, I'm just so glad that we're spending our time like talking about like fun future possibilities for Pettis, as opposed to like the fucking RIP eulogies that we've been having to give to all of our favorite childhood fighters.
You know what else too, man? This was his last fight on his contract for the UFC. So if he loses here, this was almost the UFC being like, hey man, win and we're going to re-sign you and let you live out your wonder years here, or lose and you go to Bellator in this massive round of cuts we got coming.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. Like I said, though, I'm so happy that we're just sitting here saying like fun, positive things about how good he looked, man. Like it kills me just having to fucking shovel dirt on all our fucking childhood heroes on the breakdown.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
You know what's weird is like we're in this weird transitional period for sports as a whole. Like, it's not just UFC. Like
No, the
NFL is about to
quarterbacks.
lose the quarterbacks. NBA is about to lose the '03
LeBron's going
draft
into
class.
yes, bro.
So like
18th
Melo,
season.
LeBron, all those guys are about to be Chris Paul. Those guys are all at the end of their run. Like, you're about to see
Passing
a
up the
major
guard.
transition in sports. Yeah, exactly. From like the mid 2000s guys to the early 2010s, mid 15s guys.
And I know you're not as big of a baseball guy as me, but it's kind of happening in baseball too. Guys like Fernando Tatis Jr., Ronald Acuna Jr., Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
That's a great point, dude. There's a bunch of young and up and coming baseball prospects that are like, and like Mike Trout and those guys obviously are
Yeah, like Mike Trout,
they're a little
Bryce
older,
Harper.
but they're leading that class of like the next generation to come through and ousting those old guys. Like
I'll
like
say-
Robinson Cano and those guys, they're all past
they're
their
on,
prime.
Yeah, they're 37, 38, exactly. Like, but I'll say this new generation of baseball athletes is so much funner.
They're way more athletic. Way more like they're
like
athletes.
Tatis could play another sport. Like Tatis Jr., Acuna, these guys.
Acuna could as well, yeah.
They're athletes. Like, they could play probably soccer or whatever. I mean, they come from other countries, so it's hard to say, like, football. But,
True.
like, you know what I'm saying? They're athletes. They could have been boxers or whatever. Like, they're just athletes. And, like, this whole wave of, like, second generation, like all these guys' kids that are like Bo Bichetti, his dad was in the league. Like Vlad Guerrero, his dad was in the league.
Well, think about this.
Fernando,
think about this, bro. Patrick Mahomes is
dad
the second because his dad was a baseball pitcher.
Yep,
Imagine if he'd stay with baseball. Like, that's a legitimate argument for baseball players might be some of the best athletes on the planet, right?
Let's not forget that Kyler Murray was the 9th overall pick to the Oakland A's, my favorite baseball team.
And he has said don't rule out baseball. Like, he still might come play baseball. Now, at this point, I don't know if you do that, but
yeah, it would take probably something not dope happening.
But his athleticism in the outfield and his speed mixed with his arm.
And he can hit. That's what people forget because he's small. He hit.
Oh yeah, he could hit like 360, 370 in college, which really good in college. And that's obviously in the major leagues that transitions way differently. But
yeah, I mean, he would have been a good baseball player. I was low key looking forward to as fuck collecting a bunch of Kyler Murray Oakland A's baseball cards. But hey, that's neither here nor there. But man, we'll wrap up this undercard, this prelim, and we'll take a little break and come right back for this main card, which is fucking lit.
Dude, fire main card.
Fire main card.
All right, what up, everybody? We're back for this main card. Man, what an amazing main card. It pretty much gave you everything you wanted from it. Man, a lot of fun. Beefy Boys Breakdown episode 29, UFC Vegas 17. Final main card of the year. I'm a little bit bummed. I think we're going to do like a Beefy Boys end of the year kind of summary. So I think there'll still be a Beefy Boys next week, I do believe, for episode 30 to wrap up the year. That'll be a nice, clean, easy number to end the year on. And yeah, thanks for everybody that's been a part of this Beefy Boys journey, over the course of 2020. Everybody that's liked and subscribed on YouTube. If you haven't, go do that. And let me get my Beefy brother Harrison back on here.
Hello.
Hey, what up, bro? Man, they said final main card breakdown of 2020. It's been a, crazy year. It's been a fun year for the podcast, a fun year for the UFC. And man, last night in a year full of amazing main cards, last night, hangs right up there with some of the best of them. It was a fantastic main card.
Before we jump too far into it,
yeah.
Can you imagine if Neil Magny was still on this card and Hamzat and Leon Edwards are still on this card?
Yeah, that would have been insane. They probably wouldn't have had to add some of the sideshow fights to the prelims. You know what I'm saying? It probably.
You talking about Duran win?
Yeah. It might have been a win on multiple fronts. But hey, woulda, coulda, shoulda. I believe we're getting Chimaev and Edwards early 2021 on their own fight night card. I do believe.
Yeah, I bet they'll go on like January 30th or February 6th. Probably one of those dates.
Something like that. So yeah, would have been even better. Definitely. I gotta say though, that at least that gives us like our own special night just for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, which I appreciate because, hey, baby, Hamzat hype train. We're here for it.
We're here for it. Definitely, man. And man, this fight started off with a couple a hype train meeting, a nice veteran test, and to really see how real Greg Hardy was. I mean, Greg Hardy, former defensive end NFL player, got kicked out of the NFL for domestic violence issues, and he's really what seems to be turned his life around, which you love to see. Martial arts can be good for people that need some discipline and need some structure. People always think football does that. Football doesn't give you any structure. Like, it does, like, while you're there. But
honestly, like lack of structure, if anything,
like,
because it's just chaos on the field.
Yeah, I feel you. Football can be like, I had to like tap into like a crazier, wilder side of me when I was playing football that didn't necessarily benefit me off the field. Not making excuses by any stretch, but man, like the psychology of being a football player and having your head hit like that, it's different than martial arts for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, shout out to our buddy George. Like, he literally is by his own admission, a whole different person when he's in the game versus when he's not. Like,
yeah, and not
it's a weird thing.
Can like draw that line and separate like as easily. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know I struggled with it. Like, I sometimes brought my on-field kind of persona off the field. Like, it started to blur lines. Like, I can attest to that. Like I said, not making excuses for anybody, but it's a weird dynamic, being a football player.
Well, I mean, think about this. Not to dive too deep, we'll get off after this, but
yeah.
Like George, for example, has that tattoo of the Joker on his forearm. The reason he has that, by his own admission, is when he looks at it, it's to remind himself that when he's on the field, he can be the villain. Like, there's no wrong part of that. Yeah. So that's like a weird mentality to have to overtake to do what you do effectively.
Yeah,
right.
No, I agree.
Like, because everything in life tells you don't do the villain thing, be the hero. Like, always take the higher moral standing. Like, do the bright thing, do what's better. But sometimes in football, it's like that's essentially simulated war. Like, you just got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, no, for sure, man, for sure. It's very, very interesting. And then, like, I don't know how long Greg Hardy played football. I'm going to assume it's probably since a very young age. And,
yeah, I'm sure.
And you're programmed, to be violent and aggressive. And I'm not making excuses. And I'm not saying every football player is like that, but like there's certain places.
Well, I'll say at his position as well, like defensive end, you got to be the most insane guy on the field probably to be a defensive end. It's the most freaky athletic guy usually on the field.
And you're going against the biggest guy on the field.
Who's their second highest paid player usually, if it's the left tackle. Like, that's their second best player usually.
Yeah, definitely, man. It's a crazy dynamic. So that being said, he's just been physically dominating like the kind of lower end UFC fighters that he's been up against to this point. And I feel like Marcin Tybura was a marked jump in the competition level.
He did fight Alexander Volkov as a late replacement that one time. So he has fought a top 10 opponent. And he went to decision with Volkov, lost all 3 rounds, didn't get close, like showed that he clearly was lacking in striking. But to your point here, that was a late replacement. He actually had a camp for this fight. This was like it meant to be his actual test of like, are you going to be a top 15 heavyweight for us? Is essentially what the UFC was saying with this matchup. Because Tybura is right there at that back end.
Totally. Tybura is a tried and true veteran. He's like, I think 35 years old.
And he's also a pretty stereotype heavyweight. Kind of thick, throws some shots, kind of good at grappling, like well-rounded. You know what I mean? So like, if you're gonna test someone, he's a great guy to give as a test.
A true professional fighter, for sure. And
that's a great way to say it. Like, he is a true professional fighter.
Definitely, man. And Tybura was a plus 100 underdog, and Hardy was a minus 120 favorite. So Greg Hardy has to cut to make heavyweight. He barely made weight. He weighed in at 266, but he didn't need the extra time this time.
Greg Hardy. Important you say that, because
3 hours.
Dude, he and I get it, because his playing weight was like 290. So I get it. Like, he's literally just a big guy.
Yeah.
Like, he's 6'4", whatever it is, like, could walk around looking healthy at probably 280.
Yeah, seriously. He has a very rare physique.
But just like you were saying, that's what he's been relying on as well in a lot of these fights. Yeah. So that's what made this Tybura fight so interesting. Dude, he had Tybura hurt late in the first.
Yeah, no, I have to say, I thought this fight was gonna like go kind of as a lot of people saw it going, with just Hardy being the physically superior man and hitting a little harder and just, I mean, having a classic heavyweight slugfest fight. I thought in the round one, man, it looked like I gave round one to Hardy. I mean,
For sure. Me too. Like, not even a question.
Yeah, he had him hurt. He had Tybura hurt. I mean, he was the thing I'll give Hardy credit for. The boxing looked crisp. Like, it wasn't just heavyweight winging punches and I'm big, so they were effective. The boxing actually looked crisp. The hands were coming back. Like, the fundamentals, like, he was throwing some straights. Like, it wasn't just classic heavyweight blumbering, you know. The boxing looked very crisp.
I would say from a technique standpoint, he looked good on the feet. Like, on the feet, no trouble, man. And honestly, like, on the ground, I don't know what his ground game is like. But what we saw in the second round was probably more due to just being tired, right? Like, I think he gassed out. And for a lot of fast twitch guys at heavyweight, that 7 to 8 minute mark is when they're going to start faltering, cardio-wise.
Yeah. So in round two, Tybura comes out, which – earlier we were saying, you know, we like fighters that adjust their game plan. He knew he had to get that fight to the ground, and he did. He comes out and gets the takedown, which when he got that takedown, I was like, ooh, like, here we go.
That was a big change. And that's what we were saying about Tybura being a professional fighter, is that, like, when the striking, he can tell, is not going his way, even though he's a good striker.
Yeah.
He has the acumen.
But exactly.
Yeah, he has the acumen to be like, okay, well, let's take it down. Let's see what it's like on the ground down here for me. And it was a great decision.
Yes. The fight, the momentum completely shifted. Tybura was definitely dominating on the ground. He eventually just, and then he just grounds and pounds him until the ref stops it. Like, it was kind of like one of those.
It was an exhaustion. It was an exhaustion stoppage, man, which sucked to watch. But it's also like, yeah, Tybura's beating his ass because, like, if you're exhausted, you can't fight. It's just that simple.
Yeah, after the fight was stopped, like, Hardy was literally just, like, sucking, like, dramatic win, like just was
like
exhausted.
bleeding barely, like barely bleeding. Like, it wasn't like the damage was heavy on him. No. It was like he was literally exhausted, and that was 9 minutes and 20 seconds into the fight.
Yeah,
like, you got to be able to fight for at least 11 minutes, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, you can make the argument that you could falter with 2 minutes to go in the third. Like, we saw Kevin Holland do that against Darren Stewart. There's plenty of guys that, like, get to that last 2 minute, 90-second window, and they're just on fumes. That's fine. I get it, right? Like, Jose Aldo's the king of 3-round fights. We'll get to it later. But the reason being he's the king of 3-rounders is because he knows how to exactly wear himself out in 15 minutes. Okay. And you saw it against Peter Yan, right? Because Yan dominated the fourth and finished him in the fifth.
Yep.
But I thought Yan lost 2 of the first 3 rounds. So there's certain fighters that when it's a 15-minute window, they know how to give everything that they can give in 14 minutes and essentially take that pressure off themselves. Hardy apparently it has a 2-round format built into his game.
Yeah, man, and it's a very flawed game plan. It's a very flawed, just physique, if you will. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Hardy, he seemed to have the right mental response to the loss, saying, you know, like, I accept my loss. I'm not going to make excuses. He said, that's on me, not my coaches. I'm gonna work harder. I'm going to get better. So he seemed to take it, like, with the right, mentality, which is cool because a guy like Hardy, it could have gone either way. Like, he could have retired from MMA, like, fuck this. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so yeah. And then Tybura, I thought he did himself a lot of favors. He said he's right on the back end of top 15. And I'll say, as far as unranked guys that he could have fought, there's not really a better name than Greg Hardy to beat.
The best. Like, a bunch of viewers probably tuned in. Was the start of the main card. So, like, if you're a main card watcher, which a lot of UFC people are, no disrespect to that. Like, that's the same as before I would, like, bet degenerate football games, like a degenerate. I wouldn't watch, like, the MAC or, like, Buffalo and, like, those, like, Akron. Those are all MAC teams. I don't know why I'm just picking on them. Conference USA, Sunbelt, WAC. I didn't used to watch those games, right? When you start betting lines, you start watching every single game. So, like, I get what he's saying, right? That there's just, or I get the placement of what you're saying is rather what I should say, is that, like, when you start on the main card, you get tons of eyeballs. Tons.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, that was a good marketing. I mean, it was a good matchup. Like, I knew this was going to be a good fight. Like, a lot of people were just like, oh, Hardy all day, Hardy all day. And I don't think, I mean, I understand that, and I'm not going to like bet Tybura, but like, I was like, I mean, Tybura's no necessarily walk in the park. It's a nice, competition. Like, I don't know. I did not pick the upset, but I'm just saying, like, I didn't go into this just being like, oh, bet the farm on Hardy. Like, I was like, I don't know, Tybura's a real fighter, and Hardy. I did think Hardy was the physically superior man, which he is.
For sure.
And I thought he was going to be able to parlay that into a victory. Like, I did. I'm not trying to like backpedal. Like, I did pick Hardy, but I don't know.
Yeah, I leaned to Hardy in this, but it was one of those fights where like I wouldn't have bet on it, but it's also one where like I had a good feeling on Greg Hardy.
Yeah, and Tybura. I mean, like I said, Tybura. That was a great performance for Tybura. We'll put it that way, because it was a plus 100 underdog, so it's not like he was essentially a coin flip, and he got the fight to where it needed to go, which is what I give him credit for.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll keep it pushing because this next fight. Tybura got a performance of the night bonus for that as well, which
I was a little surprised about, but not a lot of finishes on the night, so it made sense after looking back at like the number of finishes.
Finishing a guy with the hype of Greg Hardy too, that he was
True.
an underdog, and I get it. I feel there was arguments to be made for a few other people, or maybe throwing a fight of the night on there. They did the 4 performance bonuses last night.
Is that bad boy peach? I know you said comfort colors, but that's it's nice, man. That's nice.
It's kind of this cool color where, like in the light, it looks kind of like chalky, a little lighter, and like peachier, or kind of like that chalky orange color. And then in the lower light, it does look kind of more of like a traditional Norman Hyatt orange color. But it's like a lighter orange, kind of a creamsicle color. But the lighting really affects like the color that it looks like.
Damn. Yeah. And like I don't know if I'm sure it's Gildan, like the other shirts we have, but like the Gildan long sleeves, people that don't know, love those shirts. Like the way they build them, the sleeves have like that little like quarter inch of extra length or whatever it is, so they're not like stretching. Like when you put your arms out, it's not going to stretch back against your arms.
Yeah, no, it's good. Comfort Colors is actually the name brand of the shirt, so it's not
you went for the shit. Those are nice shirts, bro.
They're nice shirts. They're a little more expensive, but they're good quality. I really think they're going to last a little longer.
Damn,
just a little better quality. Logo pops out nice, good on the orange. So yeah,
on the orange, the black logo looks great.
Yeah, I'll be sending you yours for a Christmas present, and
you already appreciate it.
Yeah, anybody that wants one, DM your boy at Dreadful Talk Dom, and we'll get you taken care of, shipping nationwide.
Also for anyone that's listening, notice that was an organic ad we just worked in. If you need an ad worked in to be read, just let us know.
Yeah, we'd love to advertise your business. Or have available sponsorship slots. Feel free to reach out. We can get something going. But on to this next amazing fight. I thought this was so much fun. You got Marlon Murray, the number 3 bantamweight, as a minus 155 favorite, fighting Rob Font, the number 11 ranked bantamweight, plus 135 underdog, who's coming off of an ACL tear. And Murray, that don't remember, we covered it on the breakdown. He's coming off of a knockout. Corey Sandhagen. Was that for the belt or no?
It was essentially for the title shot. That was it was no, it wasn't, because Aldo was locked in to fight Peter Yan next, right? And there's a whole bunch of bullshit with Yan not being able to get out of Russia because of COVID. 2020 fucked up year. We're gonna get past it, people. Just stick with us. But Moraes fought Sandhagen to see who gets the winner of that fight. So the first belt shot, essentially.
You're right. Because Moraes was the number 1 ranked contender when he fought Sandhagen, right? It was 1 versus 4, right?
Yeah, and that's correct. But also, Moraes was the champion whenever Henry Cejudo beat him. Like Marlon Moraes is dangerous, man. Like his KO power is he's elite. Like he's elite. Like that's a great way to say it. Now, what's super weird about this is he was one of the 7 picks I gave out as far as, like, you could take any of these 7, parlay them how you want. These are the 7 I'm most confident in, right? There were 2 fight links and then 5 actual fights that I liked. Marlon Moraes is one of them. He was, granted, near the bottom, like 6 or 7 on the like, I like it this much. Yeah, but I thought he was going to handle business, man.
Me too. And coming off of a vicious knockout, though, like, and especially,
but was it that vicious?
I mean, wasn't it like the crazy head kick, right?
It was a spinning back heel kick, but he got up immediately after the ref pulled Sandhagen off. It was almost like the ref stopped the fight. And I'm not saying it was an early stoppage. I'm just saying he didn't take any extra damage.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, it was still head kick knockout. I mean, the head kick knockout.
True, but
no
he never went out. Like he always had his eyes open and was defending. He just was eating some shots because he was slowed down by the damage from the kick. So
yeah. And then the first round, Font was struggling on the ground. Like when they were grappling, I thought Marias was getting better of him.
Shout out to Moraes for taking him down. We haven't seen Marlon Moraes do that in probably 4 fights, like actually try to work his ground game. And he is a good grappler. And he's really good cardio-wise. Like his cardio sucks when he tries to stand and strike. When he grapples, he actually manages his cardio way better. So as soon as I saw him get the takedown, I was like, oh, this is great for Moraes. Like, this is awesome.
No.
And then he decided to fuck that up.
Yes. When it got back to the feet, right, Font, just walk us through the knockout.
Man, so I thought it was weird, and I want to know what you think about it, because I thought Moraes, like, they got up and started to trade, and Moraes felt like a couple shots and was like, fuck it. Like, we can trade these shots. Like, I can eat a couple of these, and you can't eat my shots. And then Font has good movement, I guess, with his head. Like, I think head movement was a big part of it for Rob Font here. But essentially, yeah, I mean, just starts tagging up Moraes, dude, and, like, that was a brutal finish. Like, that was a brutal finish. Like, in Marlon Moraes' next fight, I'll be more nervous that he gets knocked out again than I was coming into this fight, because this finish was brutal. He took a lot of damage. I mean, the ref Mark Goddard gave him every opportunity to get up and defend.
Yes, he did. And then Font just pretty much finished him out. And it was a first-round TKO for Rob Font, which, goddamn, not a lot of people saw that coming. I'll admit that I did it.
What was the hurt Moraes? It was like a clean, like 1, 2, 3, right? Just like a boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, I don't think it was anything like elaborate. They were just, like you said, trading punches, and then Fonts just started to, wobble him. And like I said, it's hard for me. I don't know. It sounds like I'm factoring it in more than you are, but it's hard for me to not go back. I mean, the guy just, like, I don't know. I think the chin might be softening on Moraes. I mean,
no, I'm totally with you. Like, I honestly thought, because of the way he reacted in the fight against Sandhagen, like the fact that he never, like, fully was out, like, eating cold shots, shit like that, I was like, okay, like, maybe that wasn't as serious, and he got off balance more than anything from the head kick, and then just couldn't, like, get his equilibrium back. Nah, you're right. Like, I think it's definitely what you're saying, that was a pretty bad head kick KO, and Marlon Moraes apparently just has his lights turned back on fast. And like, he doesn't stay asleep for a long time.
And this was a fairly quick turnaround. I mean, all things considered. I mean, for a guy his
a couple months coming off a head spinning heel kick to your head, like you probably should take 5 months. Yeah,
he got a lot of miles.
And the weight cut murders him. Like, he should fight at 45. He's a huge 35er.
So, I mean, and then DC was like acting like real salty, being very opinionated, saying it was a late stoppage.
I mean, it was, though, right? Because Moraes is, like, he's defending in the sense of, like, this is physically, like, your mechanical defense, is your hands will just, like, go up and be like, your arms are up or whatever. He was eating shots, bro. Like, his head was bouncing off the fucking ring and coming back up to eat more shots.
I'll be real. I thought it stopped at the right time. Like now, like right at the right time. Like any more, I thought would have been uncalled for. But
I mean, I would say that it was within the window of that's an acceptable stoppage. I don't think that was a late.
It wasn't my favorite.
I don't think it was
or like
correct.
A textbook example of when every fight should be stopped, but.
If you didn't make Moraes hit the last sequence of punches, like the last 3 or 4 hammer fists, I would have been cool with that. I thought those were extra. But that's kind of nitpicking at that point, right?
Isn't Goddard like a bigger guy?
Very big.
And he usually doesn't usually do like heavyweight fights. So like
I mean, he does everyone. Like, I think Mark Goddard's best in the game. And honestly, he'll give you more of a chance to defend yourself than almost any other ref. Like, him and Tognoni will actually let fighters, like, shell up and then unleash a defense. Whereas a lot of other refs, like Herb Dean, notoriously, if you shell up, He just calls the fight.
Yeah.
I
Exactly.
don't agree with that either. Like,
Me
I think
too.
both those sides of the coin you can't go with. Like, you need to see someone get hurt, and every guy's different. So to have like this like paper mache molding of like this is exactly how every guy goes out or gets knocked out, you can't do that.
Yeah, true. But yeah, man, very exciting fight just for like the kind of unexpected nature of it. I mean, 11 upsets 3. I mean, guy coming off of an ACL injury beats a guy with the name, cachet like Marlon Murray. I mean, very exciting. I mean, what does Font get another top fiver next? I mean, right? He has to. You can't.
Dude, all right. Here's the other side that we haven't talked about yet.
Okay.
Rob Font has fought in December 2017, December 2018, December 2019. Tears his ACL actually training for a fight not in December this year. Can't fight until December this year. He's had 4 fights in 4 years and fights December every year. Like, is this man just affording Christmas for his family? Like, what the fuck? What the fuck, Rob Font? It's not that I don't think he deserves a top 5 shot. I need to see activity, man. I need to see you go out and like do some shit. Like, let me get Rob Font and Jose Aldo. Let's square that up. Let me see you take on the king of 3-rounders against the guy that I think, because you beat Moraes, right? But I thought Aldo beat Moraes, even though Moraes won that decision because Chris Bell was one of the judges there and fucked him. So
Chris Bell, man, that fucking guy.
Seriously. So, like, I could see a Rob Font Aldo. Like, you need to keep giving him big names because nobody knows who Rob Font is because he only fights in December once a year, and I don't know how the fuck that happens.
Yeah, and apparently he trains with Calvin Cater. He's like a New England guy. He comes from like that gym up there.
And, like, has a sick chin, like, throws damage, like, could be awesome.
Could be awesome. You're right. I mean, and this is the UFC. I know Schaub touched on this. The UFC is changing its business model. Like, and Schaub called it the nut has changed. The nut used to be big pay-per-views with big names. That's like a fraction of the UFC's income now.
It's marketing now.
No, it's the ESPN Plus.
Right, it's marketing like consistency is what I mean to say.
Yeah.
Like being able to market consistent shows. It's like NFL. Like NFL has stars, but every game is watchable.
Yeah, exactly. And so that does lend itself to. There's not many guys that are going to do the 1 or 2 fights a year thing anymore. I have a feeling they're going to make them
good
3 or 4 times a year.
I mean, activity is important, bro. Like, you play 16 NFL games opposed to 12 college games because why? Because you're a professional and that's what's expected.
If you had a hard game where you took a lot of damage in football, you got a game the next week. Like,
exactly, bro. Like, it's what can you do for me now, which is all sports, every time, everywhere.
Yep. And then, so Font got the performance of the night bonus there too. So we got 2 performance of the nights back to back.
I thought Font deserved it. I thought Font and Flick deserved it. Like, the way they finished their fights, fantastic. Tibura's was like, almost like you said earlier with Homeboy giving away the fight. It was like Greg Hardy, like, gave that fight rather than having it taken from him.
It was a cheap 50K. But I'm not mad that he got it, beating a guy like Hardy and, finishing a guy like Hardy. But this next fight, bro, I feel some type of way about. I want to really, really dive into. I want to take a deep dive on this one, give it its time. I disagree with the decision, and I want to get into why. We have what the fight most people were looking forward to even more than some of the higher rankings. Like, I know me, like, I was looking forward to this fight more than the Moraes-Font fight, more than any of the fights up to this point, more than the Hardy-Tibura. Could not wait for this fight.
So I was looking forward super hard to this fight. I actually did put in a 5-way parlay yesterday, hit every single one of them, except for this fight, which I didn't pick a winner in. I just picked to not go the distance, right? You think that's a safe bet?
That seemed like a smart bet. But
appreciate that. But, it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I feel you. It was essentially a toss-up. Michel Pereira, -105. Underdog versus Chaos Williams. Yes, that's his real name, Chaos. Love it. Is it not?
Kalen is his real first name.
He has another nickname, right?
The Ox Fighter. Yeah. He's a bitch.
So
here's that story real fast, right?
All right.
So he used to be Kalen Chaos Williams, right, in the regional scene. Then the UFC and marketing starts calling him Chaos. Oh, it's Chaos Williams. He's smart. He ran with it. He was like, well, I'll just be Chaos Williams, and I'll just be K. It's still K Williams, like, because when you see him on like listings and shit, it's K Williams, right?
Okay.
So he's like, cool, I'll just be Chaos Williams, and then like for y'all, I'll be the Ox Fighter. I don't fuck with that.
Yeah, it just that seems dumb to have two nicknames. That's what fooled me. I'll be real. I took a hook line. I was like, oh well, clearly that's his real name because he has a nickname, the Ox Fighter. So
correct. I wish that he would just be Kalen Chaos Williams. Kalen Chaos Williams sounds better than Chaos the Ox Fighter Williams.
Yeah, I feel you. I apologize, people. I got confused there. But yeah, so Chaos Williams minus 115 favorite. He's been starching everybody within the first round. He hasn't made it out of the first round before this fight. Michel Pereira is known for being this super flashy, ridiculously huge, kind of just freakish welterweight. Not unbeatable. He has 11 losses, or he had 11 losses going into this fight. But just the freak of nature at welterweight. I mean, absolute massive.
Oh, yeah.
Jacked City. Super athletic, does like
both these guys are athletic
stuff.
freaks at 170.
Yes. So that's why everybody thought it was going to be fireworks. And kind of like what happened, in my opinion, is when two BJJ black belts end up having a slugfest. It's like you have two super insane, chaotic fighters, no pun intended. And then it kind of turned into like a technician's kind of faint fest,
exactly that. Honestly, man, it was weird because, obviously from the way I bet it, I thought this fight couldn't go the distance because someone was going to land a big shot, right?
I literally turned to my wife and I go, hey, babe, you may want to watch this fight because it's not even going to take that much of your time to watch it. Like, I literally
I was laughing at work to people, like, if there's one fight you don't miss tonight, it's going to be Chaos Williams and Michel Pereira. Now, granted, fun fight to watch. Like, it was fun as fuck to watch. I don't want to take away from how close and good the fight was.
It just went differently
and
than anybody expected.
We should note, too, Chaos Williams opened this fight at plus 170 and got bet all the way to being the favorite at minus 115. Plus 170 he opened at.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Dude,
I'm really glad you dropped that info.
There was huge line movement in Williams' favor. The reason being, most people don't know, who Michel Pereira is.
That makes this fucking decision even sketchier.
Exactly. And I thought you might say that.
Oh, man.
So, yeah, like a bunch, like all the money on earth got poured in on Chaos Williams, and Michel Pereira got no money. So I almost bet Michel Pereira at the end just because at a pick'em, when he opens up as a damn near minus 200 favorite. Like,
it's a good number to get him at.
Right, yeah, like the number there, the value is too good to pass. Now, the problem with it is you go back to like, what am I looking for? Oh, Chaos Williams' last fight, right? He's just, starching guys, right?
Yeah.
But there is a handicapper I followed that brought up the point of before Chaos Williams' last 4 fights that were all first-round finishes for him, he had been in a decision every fight before that. And he has decisions against a guy that's 7-7 now, and a decision win against a guy that's 17-19 now.
Okay.
So it's like certain guys have figured out how to evade that power somehow that aren't necessarily great at fighting.
Yeah. No, man, fucking Harrison. Man, this guy has the fucking info for y'all, boy. I'm so glad you brought that. That was great, bro. I'm just fucking out listening at this point. Just like, yeah, man, drop that knowledge. That was good shit, man.
Even further, the handicapper that was talking about it said that he thought Williams would win the first round and Pereira would win the second and third. And that's when I said, fuck this. I'm not listening to this guy right now because I didn't think that was true.
I didn't. The only thing I'll say is that I 100% would have bet the same thing you did, that it wasn't going the distance. I think that was like a bet the farm kind of lock, but that just goes to show y'all there's no such thing as a fucking bet the farmer. Because everybody thought that. Apparently besides that one handicapper, but he's sitting there.
And that dude's in like a apparently he's in some competition amongst handicappers, and he's in the final 2. Like they're going to do a year showdown or a showdown this weekend for the year, based on all their bets, and who has the highest ROI on all the bets they've made throughout the year wins. So this dude knows what he's talking about, but
that's a crazy world. That's a fun world. That's wild. But man,
what would lead you to think that, bro? Like for me and you, we're sitting here. We've watched the last 29 UFC events, 24 weeks straight. Right now, we're sitting at. What on earth would have made you or I think that Michel Pereira and Chaos Williams would go to the decision? It has
Well,
to
you
be the
know what?
thing that you said to start, right? That
Yep,
both these
yep.
guys are crazy strikers, so the trepidation from both of them has to be high, so they both stand back and don't land those shots.
Yeah, and I'm about to say I learned from a betting perspective. I learned a lot last night because for this exact reason of
Last night was
sometimes
hard to bet.
sometimes you
Very
got to
hard.
zig when everyone else is zagging, and of just what we said about two crazy fighters sometimes make for a boring fight, which I don't think it was a boring fight, but you see what I'm saying. They're kind of like the like I already previously learned the lesson that two grapplers can make for a slugfest. This was like the next lesson to learn, I think, and like that progression. But man, let's get into it round by round because man,
Absolutely, yeah. I want to know how you score these rounds too, because
yeah,
like they were terribly hard to score. Terribly hard to score. I thought the first round was maybe easier to score than the other two.
I gave round one to Williams.
Me
He
too.
was he was moving forward, and the volume was almost triple. And I'm not talking about just volume of thrown, volume of landed significant strikes.
Yeah. No, I thought Williams, like, I honestly, my notes for Pereira in the first round were he has a nice chin. If that's my notes for you in the first round, you probably lost that round.
Well, and like Pereira was like just fainting, moving, crazy footwork, but just not throwing and not landing. Like I think Pereira, and I'm not trying to lean too heavily on the numbers, but in a fight this kind of crazy and murky, sometimes it's good to lean on the numbers. I think in the first round, Pereira landed 12 shots. 12.
That sounds right. Yeah, and I think Homeboy landed,
It
what,
was in the
31 or something
30s.
like
In
that?
the 30s.
34?
Yeah, in the 30s.
Like, it
So
was damn near triple. It was
it was
damn near
damn near
triple.
triple. And now they weren't all, square, like super
Now,
effective, but
now here, when you say that, we're going to get into it next fight, but I'm just going to go ahead and bring it up to begin with. Chito Vera outlanded Jose Aldo huge. Like
I
the
know.
numbers, if you look at the
I
numbers,
know.
but those numbers don't tell the story of that fight.
Oh,
We'll get into it. We'll get into it.
We'll get into it. All right. So yes, round one, Williams volume moving forward. I thought completely control. I mean, I
Super low
really
activity for Pereira, by the way. Like I even
super
made a
low.
note.
Yeah,
No, I made a note on in my book that like both these guys were low activity,
yeah,
which
yeah.
leads to your point and that handicapper's point of like, or the same point of like Lewis and Ngannou. When there's that much on the line and one strike from either side, no one wants to. It's like nuclear weapons.
Yeah.
No one wants to shoot the nuke because one's coming back.
Yeah, no, that's a good analogy, man. And and so there was, like I said, Pereira was doing such good feinting and such good footwork. I just felt like if he would have pumped some jabs somewhere in the midst of that,
Leg
like
kicks, jabs, like
the
there's a
round
lot
was
of
there
shit.
for him to win.
It's almost like he had the meat and potatoes, but he had none of the sides to dress it and make it a dinner. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because he did a lot of things good in that first round, but I don't see how you can give him the round by inflicting zero damage, landing next to no significant strikes. It's not like he had a takedown. Like what the fuck I don't know if people did give him the first, but if they did, I don't know what it was that got him the first. Like
I didn't look up the scorecards officially for this fight, and I absolutely should have. My mistake, everyone.
I didn't either,
but I would assume no judge could have given that round to Bahia. I don't know what you would have given it to him based on.
And then round two, I thought
razor thin,
but I thought
really confusing too.
I thought Williams landed cleaner shots in round two than he landed in round one. He landed like more meaningful, cleaner, like harder shots in round two, I thought, than he did in round one. And so like I gave it to him off of that. Like I honestly didn't have it that thin, to be quite frank. Like maybe, like I don't know. I'm not saying it was a landslide. I'm not saying it was a 10-8 domination, but I thought it was Williams. I mean, he once again almost the same volume ratio that applied to round one applied to round two. He maybe not tripled but doubled. I mean, it was way more volume.
I want to say he got close to doubling him in volume, but in strikes landed as well, it was like a little less than twice as much. But also, it was some like shitty strikes that didn't really mean anything. That were like getting counted.
But there was also like I don't know. I thought there was a couple of cleaner lands. Like there may have been more shitty lands, but the couple of clean lands that he did land into were cleaner than the that he landed in round 1. If that makes sense. Like
I agree, but I also felt like Pereira landed a lot more shots in round 2.
He did. No, Pereira's
and they were like
volume
pretty
went up.
clean too, though. Like when he wasn't landing as much, but he was landing some really like flush shots.
Yes. No,
But he
agree.
was also missing some shots completely. Like that's the weird thing about Pereira's style is that like everything is so from left field that like some things are going to land completely great and some things will miss entirely. But it's all in the same window, and it's like it's so hard to score his fights, man.
Yeah, no, it is, and it's just visually it gives you a lot to look at.
And he moves so much, and he throws so much weird shit that, like, as a judge, maybe even as me, perhaps not as you though, from the way we're talking about scoring it, I might be swayed by those movements and those flashy techniques.
I feel you, because that's exactly kind of the lens I looked at it through. I was like, this is all.
All flash, no substance.
Yeah, bro. Like I was just like, he's not like you said. I mean, he did land a few in the second, but I was like, this is a whole lot of nothing, like a lot of just fluff. I don't know, but I mean,
well, how'd you score the third? Because I thought the third got even closer than the second.
Yeah, so I actually scored the third for Pereira, the takedowns, and then he finished the round super strong. So I actually score the third for Pereira.
I did as well. Obviously, if I scored the second for him, I was going to score the third for him. But, like, dude, round 1 was the only clear round. Like, 2 and 3, I thought, were super murky. Super murky.
I feel really good about how I scored that fight. Now, granted, I didn't watch this one twice. The next fight I watched twice. But this fight,
you know what? I even went back this morning and watched Aldo Vera again while I was in the shower earlier, just so I could watch it twice with you. I still stand by it.
So did I. So the Pereira Chaos Williams fight, I could maybe stand to watch. Again. I gotta say though, when they raised Pereira's hand, my jaw dropped. I was like actually like had a visceral reaction. I was like, fucking bullshit. Like I felt like some type of way about it. Like that's why there's 2 hills I'm dying on, and this is one of them, bro. Like because the thing is, bro. When I watch a fight, when I think it has a razor thin round, like I did it in the Pettis fight, the round 1 of the Pettis fight, I was like, oh, this is so close. I'm having a hard time scoring it. And I was like, what do you think, Harrison? I didn't feel that way about any of these rounds. Like I felt super confident in my score in all 3 of these. Like, I thought Williams won 1 and 2, and Pereira clearly won 3. Like I feel really good about that. Now,
so
2 was closer than 1. I'll give you that. But
so check this out. In my book, I wrote, second round was really confusing and honestly razor thin. I don't know how to score it, but I'll ask D-Mac first. Those are my actual notes.
So you don't feel that strongly about 2?
No, like I think it's literally a coin flip. Like you could flip that shit 100 times and tell me whatever it came out as.
But the crazy thing is the judges were unanimous.
I know they all saw it. 2 and 3 to Pereira and 1 to Williams. Which is weird.
If I was Williams,
like I thought a split. I thought Williams could have won. I thought Pereira could have won. Like I'm not mad at any result here.
I'll be real.
Other than like if there had been a 30-27 for either guy, I'd have been pissed off.
Yeah.
And if it had been a split for either guy, I would not have been pissed off.
No, exactly. I would feel much better right now if it was a split. The fact that all 3 judges gave Pereira the second, like even if one judge
after all that late money came in on Williams.
Like I don't know. Once again, everybody that didn't watch the first part of this, I've been
watching a little weird.
I've been watching The Wire, and The Wire's like opened my mind to like how corruption works. Like and like I just look at shit through like a different lens, and I don't know. That seems. Scary.
Oh, you want to bring up corruption real fast? Let's talk about Iowa State OU 27-21. That's not the point of that, right? The point is Vegas said the line was +6. Nobody wins but Vegas taking their percentage off the top when the line hits on the middle, right? So 21 + 6 is 27. So they draw. So anyone that bet on OU, anyone that bet on Iowa State gets their money back minus the processing fees. So Vegas just reaps processing fees off the top, right? Last night, Packers-Panthers, -8 for the Packers. 24-16 is how that game ends. And the fucking Panthers fumble the goddamn ball late in the fourth quarter when they would have easily gotten a field goal there. Like, Vegas is on some shit where they're pushing sports, I think. Like, I don't want to get in this rabbit hole in this show, but I really think Vegas like has a handle on sports.
I mean, some would argue they always have.
That's what I mean. I think it runs
Yeah.
back to the 50s. Like, I don't think that's new.
Like somebody still knows somebody who still knows somebody. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I
Bros,
feel you.
the handicappers get way too close on way too many games. I don't understand it.
Man, but I just, man, like I said, Vegas had it as a coin flip. You think the second round's a coin flip? Like I
The
said,
whole fight's a coin flip minus the first round.
But see, I even feel
I think
strongly
first
about
is
Pereira run the third. Like,
I think first is obviously Williams. I think third is strongly Pereira, and I think second is just a complete coin flip in the air.
But you can't have no, I feel you. So
Like if you told me Williams won the fight today and like I had not seen them or anything, I'd be like, okay. Like it wouldn't be like I was surprised, right?
I think Williams won the fight. I think he got I don't know. I mean, it's obviously not like a career damaging loss. Like he went the distance, he fought well. I mean, I think he'll be just fine. I mean, neither guy was ranked. That was a big opportunity for Chaos Williams, to win a fight going the distance. And now people are going to say that he can't win fights that go the distance. And I don't know. Pereira called out Pettis right after the fight. But
Good call out.
It's a good call out
Because it gets the attention off the fight that he just had more than anything.
It's a good call out. I think Pettis is probably going to go down to 155 though, because like I said, Pettis against Pereira would look so crazy in the octagon.
Bro, it'd be a guy that weighs 190 in the ring fighting a guy that weighs 171. Like it wouldn't almost be fair.
Yeah, it would be crazy. It'd be really crazy. And that's exactly why I think Pettis maybe the move to lightweight is a good move, because just these giant weird ass crazy cut welterweights are just a mismatch for a guy like Pettis, who's just like a slender build.
I can't believe it took me to the co-main to remember this. Fuck Joe Martinez. The guy introducing the fights for everyone at home.
Yeah,
I fucking hate that guy, man. I fucking hate that guy.
You know what? Last night, I didn't find myself, like, hating it, but it was just the lack of. Like, I didn't think it was negative. I just think it was like if Buffer's a plus, add something to it, he added nothing. I didn't think it necessarily took away, but I just...
Bro, that's the best way you could have said it, because like last night it wasn't like I got pissed off at him introducing people until the main event. I hate his tagline. Like, we'll go over it, don't worry. But yeah, man, it was more like I was missing Bruce Buffer and the Buffer bump and like shit like that, man.
Yeah.
Like there's that man is like a one of a kind guy. It's like Rogan in the booth. Like you just know and love him based on all the things before.
No, totally. It just adds something. It makes it feel off-brand almost, or something like yeah. Or
like unique. You know what I mean? Like Bruce Buffer is the voice of the octagon.
Yeah, and this guy's clearly not. So it's like whatever. Yeah. I feel you. But man, this next fight, this is another one I want to go deep on. Another hill I'm dying on.
I can't wait, because I put Aldo in my parlay and was all I needed. If Pereira and Williams had not gone the distance, all I would have needed was Aldo to win. Would have won a lot of money last night.
Yeah, but go ahead and introduce it real quick.
All right, so at 135, I mean, everyone knows Jose Aldo, right? Like, long-time featherweight 145 champion.
Or don't you mean Jose Aldo? Because
Jose, correct, because he is Brazilian, so that J is a hard J, apparently, and R's are not hard. They're soft as shit. But he's ranked number 7 at 135 now. Does have a loss to Marlon Murray in the weight class and a loss to Peter Yan as his last two fights. Murray, I would argue, he won the decision in a 3-rounder against Yan. Clearly lost the fight. Got fucking brutally beaten to end the fight in the 5th round. Took way more damage than he needed to. So a lot of nerves coming into this fight as far as how he would perform coming off that damage, right? So he's number 7, minus 150. Dan Mergliata's the ref. I like Mergliata. He lets guys fight, but we'll actually save them when they need to be saved. He's fighting against Chito Vera, Marlon Chito Vera, ranked 15, plus 130. Last time we saw Marlon Vera out, he beat O'Malley, derailed the hype train that is the Beefy Boys hype train. Although I'm still on it. Although O'Malley's Instagram posts, I'm not his fan anymore.
Yeah, no, I literally commented on O'Malley's post, like, dog, you're losing me. Like
bro,
stop.
like, yeah, up. Like, you got to stop. He's got to stop posting shit and saying undefeated, or like posting him like kicking a bob and like his ankle's healthy.
And like
and
I
shit.
get
it's
it,
like,
it's a joke, but just stop. Like it's
just
a
stop,
tired
bro. Like
joke. Like
it's tired, right? Like it's not funny anymore. It was funny at very first,
Like
and now it's like
didn't like it at first, but now I really don't like it.
I didn't like it at first, but it would have been funny in retrospect, right? If he just stopped.
Yeah, it's just
but now he's continued on it, and he seems obsessed with his like loss,
like an excuse maker. Which just in life in general, not even talking sports, like it just like ask my wife, ask anybody that knows me. I do not fuck with excuse makers. Like I hate that shit so much. Maybe it's because I heard my coaches say it so many times. I don't, but if anybody has an excuse, it's motherfucking me, and I don't be making excuses. And so I don't know. I hate excuse makers, and O'Malley is just rubbing me the wrong way. But man, it is hard to tell the Cheeto Vera story without talking O'Malley. But it was Cheeto Vera.
Well, here, I'll tie it back in for us real fast. So the way Cheeto beats O'Malley is these crazy leg kicks that stun the nerve in O'Malley's leg, right? So it's kind of a fluke victory. So O'Malley has that ground to stand on. But Marlon Vera, obviously, is not going to abandon that strategy because it got him a win over a great fighter, honestly. Yeah. Like O'Malley's a talented, good fighter. So he stuck to that game plan and brought it against Jose Aldo. And I loved it. I loved the first round for Marlon Vera. Like, I thought the leg kicks were doing a bunch of damage. I thought they were money in the bank.
So you do. So round one, you give to Cheeto? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Because I was arguing with guys on Instagram that was telling me that Aldo clearly won round one, and I was tripping. So
he landed half the strikes. Granted, they did more damage. Like, they were hard fucking body shots he was landing. None of that damage was apparent in 5 minutes, right? Like, when you land a body shot, that's money in the bank. I'm not giving you a round because you socked a guy in his liver and it drew no reaction other than, like, it took energy out of him.
No, that's what I want to say, too, because I'm not going to sit here and say that Aldo
like, I need to see it be effective. Like, I need to see the effects, though, right?
Aldo landed some bombs to the body, and they looked just visually gorgeous as far as boxing goes, but their reaction. I'm so glad you said that. Cheeto ate them motherfuckers. No damage caused.
Anyone that wants to argue this point with you, ask them this. And I bet most of these people that argue this point with you will get fucking dumbfounded in a half second. Would Rocky Balboa have won the fight against the Russian in the first 6 rounds, or did he need all 12?
Yeah, no, that's a good
He was getting his ass beat in the first 6 rounds. It wasn't even fucking close.
Yeah, no, I feel you, man. I just, like I said, I'm not going to sit here and act like it was a 10-8 round for Vera or that Vera just dominated, but just neither guy caused a lot of damage in the first round. And so I'm going to give the guy that doubled the significant strikes. If you want to say, oh, they were leg kicks, fuck off. You go, well, and I also want to make one more point. That's kind of the crux of my whole hill that I'm standing on. So, because the argument against Cheeto Vera in this fight, it was just a bunch of leg kicks. Okay. For some fighters,
it was, though. It was literally 60 significant strikes, leg kicks out of his 105 landed.
All right, but check it out, though. How did Cheeto Vera win his last fight? With a fucking leg kick. His leg kicks are gnarly as fuck.
I'm not saying you're wrong, but once again, the opposite side of this coin is here, the reaction. Like, Jose Aldo never reacted poorly to those leg kicks. And he actually checked a few hard. Hard checked a few. And I would note as well, when you land a leg kick and it gets checked, that still is a significant strike for your leg kick. It's not for them checking it. So in the strike category, that does not tell the story.
No, I feel you. I feel like I get that. I really do. And trust me, as like somebody who watches MMA and judges MMA.
I said, we're 24 straight weeks deep. Like, I trust what your analysis are.
But what I'm saying is, and I don't like giving guys rounds to leg kicks, right? Like, I get that argument that's not like
it feels like a bitch-ass way to win a round.
All right, I agree, but hear me out. But the other guy has to, like, offer something better. Feel like Aldo did in rounds 1 or 2, and that's the hill that I'm dying on. I'm not sitting here.
Man, you bring round 2 into it, shit changes a little bit.
Oh yeah, because I don't know. So it does change, but I feel like it changes for Vera, because Vera was being super effective in the clinch and had him up against the fence for like multiple minutes in the round. Like at least 2 whole minutes. He had him pushed up against the fence and was being effective in the clinch.
I thought there were a clear 3 minutes where Jose Aldo was leading the striking and landing hard body shots, and Vera was landing glancing strikes for like the first 3 minutes of that round. And then you get into the last 2 minutes of the second round where I feel like Vera starts to make a comeback, does what you're talking about, gets him pressed up against the cage, and is doing this work.
At the end, the last whole 2 minutes of the round, which we talk about all the time.
But he lost the first 3 minutes, so like he lost 60% of the round compared to winning 40%.
But we always talk about on this podcast, Harrison, that the end of the round is weighted.
The appearance.
It's weighted.
But like, should it be? But should it be? I don't score my fights that way.
I factor in very much the end of the round and how it ends. I really do. I do. So maybe that's where the disconnect is.
Yeah, I honestly try to look at it as a 5-minute window separate from all the other rounds, too. Like, I even try to look at it as, like...
No, I try to do that, too. No, that I agree with you. But at the end of the round in a sport like fighting, like, how something ends in a fight is, like, almost all that matters. Like, in a war...
I'll give you that, but when they're postured up against the fence, Aldo is framing, getting his knee up into the gut, holding him away, taking no leg kicks, no knee strikes, and is actually throwing some knee strikes as well to the body. Like, I think Aldo, in that clinch position, wasn't losing the clinch. Like, I think that was a 50-50 clinch.
I don't know. And then talking about pivoting your game plan, too, because I feel you that Cheeto, like, what was eating those big body shots at the beginning of the round, but then like to take that fight where he wanted it, like I give him credit for that. Like I score that. Like he got the fight where he wanted it on his terms. And
after 3.5 minutes, he got the clinch at 90 seconds to go in the round.
It was 90 seconds. Okay, I thought it was closer to 2 minutes. I don't know.
It's like it's 1:38 is I'm pretty sure when he locks up for the clinch. So we're right in that middle round.
And I don't know. I really valued that. Like I said, I valued it that it was the end of the round.
Well, it also hadn't happened in the fight to that point. So he was making something new occur. I give you that, too.
Exactly, and especially for the people that are arguing all it was leg kicks. Like, well, I mean, he had some...
The first round was won by only leg kicks. The second and third were real, like, super hard to score fight. Like, the third round was not hard to score. Second round was impossible to score. Second round was impossible to score.
Okay, yeah, for sure. So essentially my logic for the third round to Vera is, even though they were leg kicks, he still had more significant strikes, and I factored in the clinch time and I factored in the end of the round. So those three things are like what I'm building my argument on, and I just. Like I don't know, because like I said, everybody was just like on social media, just like, oh, I mean, it was. That's another problem I had, bro. That I'm not disagreeing with you as much as like the people I was arguing with on Instagram and shit. Like, because people were saying that it was like super obvious, like, oh, you're like,
dude, Rob, what's his name or whatever on Twitter that they always put on the screen? Fuck that guy. Get that guy out of here. Like the guys they put on Twitter to score these fights, minus that guy Fight Ghost. I like Fight Ghost.
Yeah.
All the rest of them can fuck off, dude. They do not score fights well. Like
they were just saying, like that was my big problem. Like you're saying, these are super close rounds, and they're
for anyone to act like the second and even third or first weren't close. Like the second round is literally the definition in my mind of like nobody won that round. Yeah, that was just where they just fought.
And I'm not gonna sit here and like beat that, like argue that. Because I feel that, like, I respect that. But, like, people were literally like, bro, you're tripping. There's no way that Vera won, too. And then,
if you want to say it was 28-28 at the end of this fight and you just gave both guys a 9 in the second round, I'm honestly okay with that. Which sounds crazy.
And then this other guy was telling me, like, no, very clearly Aldo won 1 and 3 and Vera won 2. And I was like, well, I think Vera won 2, but yeah.
Round 1?
I was like, what? Like,
he got outstruck 28-12. Granted, he landed those 12 shots he landed were hard shots. They aren't outweighing 28.
And that's the argument that guy was making. So like I said, I just had to come out of this and like prove that I wasn't like insane. Like, because people were
and I'm glad we talked about it because you told me to text you. I watched him last night, by the way, at 4:28 is when I finished second round. So I didn't want to text you because I was like, that's too late maybe even for West Coast. But
might have been starting to get up. That's like 6 a.m. here.
No, opposite. It was
Oh,
2:28
no,
for you.
you're right. You're right. My bad. But
But
yeah,
still, I was like, if you're getting up, like that's gonna be late to text you. But yeah, I was thinking in my brain, like, these are incredibly close rounds. Like, I don't know where the fuck. I would have texted you if I had texted you last night. I would have said, Marlon Vera won the first. I don't know who won the second. I can't wait for this third round. That's what my text would have said.
No, I feel you. Like I said, I respect that, but like all the tweets they were showing on the screen, all the comment sections I was in on Instagram, everybody was just like, "Oh yeah," like clearly that was just made perfect sense, and I was just like, I don't know.
So let me ask you this: when you say that you weight the rounds, right, and that the end of the round might be slightly more valuable than the start, for instance, how does that make you lean towards the way a fight ends? Like when the fifth or third round ends in a specific way, does that make you feel any different about how the longevity of the fight would have continued?
So the good thing about that it's always an odd number. So I like, for example, if a fighter loses rounds 1 and 2 and then wins round 3, I think that fighter lost the fight. That's actually exactly how I think Pereira lost the fight. And
okay.
So
so you actually have like numerical valued scoring.
Yeah, for sure,
okay.
for sure.
Bet.
Yeah, I do. Now, if it's now say if it's a 5-round, and then it answers itself because if it's a 5-round fight, each guy has 2 rounds. Then whoever wins the 5th round, then that's the definition of weighted. You bet your ass that 5th round matters more. But like I said, the math.
In that case, but like, what if a guy wins 1, 2, 3, and then another guy wins 4, 5?
No, I still think they should lose. Okay. Yeah, no, I do. Unless one of those rounds is like such a 10-8, then we got a draw, right?
Right, and that's how that works. Yeah, same with a 1, 2, and a 3. Like if you win 1 and 2, but you lose the third 10-8, you will get a draw at 28-28.
Yeah, I think that kind of takes care of itself. I really do. But yeah, the end of the round, and I do think that kind of matters because that pretty much means if the ref doesn't stop it, you like the whole, if it was a street fight, I know people hate that, but a better version of that argument if the ref's not there to stop it. You know what I'm saying?
But you agree then that Aldo won the third for sure, right?
Oh yeah.
Like there's no debate there because he gets to take down, just controls him. Literally dominates the third round.
No, dominates the third round. Yeah, totally. Like I would. You're not going to catch me saying that Cheeto, won 30-27. I think it was 28-29 Cheeto.
You know what I didn't like was Cheeto Vera getting taken down and having Aldo on his back, and then was like acting essentially at the end of the fight like where he was like jacking off and shit.
The jack off motion. I almost forgot to bring that up. I didn't like.
Did it like 2 or 3 times. I didn't like it either because that fight was so close that it kind of almost showed his hand to the judges of like, I can't escape this position. I can only defend, but like nothing's happening.
It's like I did like it because I thought it was hilarious.
I thought it was hilarious. 12, yeah, right. Me too.
But at the same time, I was like, Cheeto, but I say this on any type of fight, like Showboat or anything like this. You can go back, check the tape. I'm consistent. I don't mind it if a guy's dominated. In a close fight, I don't like
when you're getting dominated, though,
Yeah.
you can't be doing that shit because it's like you need to figure out how to get yourself out of this position so that you're not there.
I agree. I didn't like that. Maybe some judges didn't like that. Like I said, I don't think that affected the fight because he lost that third round like regardless, and he pretty much knew it. I don't know. Yeah, I wasn't a fan of it, even though I was a fan of it. It was hilarious, but yeah, just kind of. I don't think it did himself any favors. Like I said, I thought Cheeto won the fight, and it's not for it's. I swear to God, I'm not like it's not a hype train thing. Like I like Aldo. I'm actually like, if I remove my feelings about the decision, I'm actually very happy that Aldo got a high level win, and that's going to be great for his career.
Honestly, me too. Because I think he got fucked with Mariah's decision, and then got the title shot. Obviously, didn't happen for him the way he wanted to because Peter Yan's a beast. But, like, I think Aldo's still a top 5 guy. And I think they showed that Cheeto Vera is a top 10 guy. Like, I don't think Cheeto Vera should follow the top 15 because 135 is deep, but, like, he absolutely is 10 through 15. Absolutely.
I agree, man. And, like, because, so if Vera wins this fight, if he beats 7, then he's top 10. So
Right. So like, and he was right there on the edge of it. So, like, if you moved him up to 12, I'm not going to be mad at you.
Yeah, man, he fought good. I mean, it is just being rankings McGee. It's hard to move guys up that lose, but I definitely don't think he deserves to fall out of the top 15. So the fact that's another one, bro. All three judges were unanimous. 29, like all three judges disagreed with me, like all of them.
I
And
mean,
it's like,
I also disagreed, but I think the judges saw it like I did, where it was like
yeah,
they were counting how hard a shot landed versus the numerical value of the strike.
no, for sure, man. And I appreciate
But
you just like breaking that down because I was like, I swear, I just need somebody to fucking explain this shit.
dude, the
So you
second
actually
round,
did a good job.
the second round was so close, man. Like I can't even lie to you. Like there's no way I could make a case for Jose Aldo to have clearly won that round. Like the word "clearly" would make me a liar. You know what I mean?
But
Like there was no clarity to these
social
rounds at
media
all.
was acting like it was just like the most obvious
Dude,
thing in the world. That's
you
what
said
drove me
that,
nuts.
and so I paid attention to it. Right, like when I was watching it, and I was like, "What the fuck are these guys watching?"
You
Like I
saw
think
that.
those, yeah, I think they watched too many fights and just got lost.
Yeah, bro, I feel you. I was just like, because man, like it got to the point where I was questioning myself because, like I said, I did have like the E40 thing on in the background. I was like, was I distracted by the fucking verses? So I was like, I went back and watched it again, and I was like, no, fuck that. I was like, stand by what I said, and like I was like, I made my wife Nina. I was like, Nina, watch this and tell me if I'm fucking tripping. And like, go ahead.
So
know,
you
bro.
texted me that last night, right? And then I watched it like super close, and I was like, I'm gonna score this fight like as best I fucking can. And then you texted me that this morning, and you're like, no, I watched it again. Like, fuck that. And I was like, well, fuck that. While I'm in the shower, I'm going to watch it again. Like, God damn it. And I swear to God, like, I watched it again, and I really think the second round, Aldo does enough in the first 3 minutes to win out the round. That's,
All right.
if I had to just generally say it, I think his first 3 minutes, he wins, loses the last two, but wins the first three by more than he lost the last two.
And that's well put. That's well put. Like I'm not gonna like that is what I actually wanted to hear. That's what I was waiting for somebody to like explain to me because I was feeling it some type of way. And then everybody.
But if you wanted to say
tripping, dog.
if you wanted to say that Aldo won the first 2 minutes and Cheeto won the last three, I don't have that much of an argument for you, because in that 1 minute between the 2 and 2 minutes, right? Because Cheeto wins the last two, Aldo wins the first two. That minute of transition is really where this fight is won and lost.
You're right.
Like imagine a 15-minute fight coming down to 1 minute in the middle of the fight.
Yeah, like I need to like video edit software, just that clip of like from
2 minutes to 3 minutes.
Yeah, from 2 to 3 exactly, and just watch
Like,
that. That'd be so confusing.
Yeah, and whoever it'd be awesomely confusing,
like, out
but
of
like
context.
right, yeah, just like put it up like who won, and it's just like a 1 minute sequence. Honestly, though, that might tell you who wins the fight, like, which sounds crazy.
Yeah, man. Maybe because they have the replay judge now, but I know that's too convoluted.
That's honestly a great co-main event. Like, when I think about it, because not too much hype was given to that fight, but it really played out well.
Yeah, it did. It was. And I think like amongst like that wasn't a big fight for casuals. Amongst the UFC fans, and I think that's why I was like getting so many arguments, because I was like getting arguments with guys that like knew their shit, because like otherwise people didn't really care about this fight. And I think a lot of the old head UFC fans were just like staunchly like super stoked for Aldo to not like get added to the scrap pile. You know what I'm saying?
That's a great take on this, because Aldo is like a Ben Roethlisberger, a Drew Brees, a Tom Brady. Like, he's an old guard guy that we all know, former champion, has showed his skills. We have no questions. Marlon Vera, young guy, tatted up, comes from the hood of Ecuador, fucking dyes his hair bleach blonde. Like, he's not going to win old guys doing shit like that.
And I think that's where I think people thought I was coming from. Like, oh, here's another fucking hype train guy. Like, lump him in with the O'Malley fans. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was just like, no, like I legitimately thought he won the fight. Like,
just based on what occurred. Like, nothing to do with who he is or like that bullshit. But like, I just think he won the fight, which I get that, man. Like, that fight might be one of the closest ones we've had to break down all year.
Yeah,
like that'll be another Christmas category for us. Will be closest fights. Like, who had the closest fight? Yeah, we're gonna do, at least from my perspective. I'll let you obviously throw in whatever categories you want, but like, I thought best chin, best KO, best submission, closest fight, and then
best hype train
or fighter. I was gonna, so fighter of the year's in there. You could do favorite fighter coming in 2021. So like looking forward, who's your favorite? And then also like we can do a retirement special and say like someone we don't want to see again in 2021.
Yeah, no, that's going to be a fun episode. Tune in next week, y'all. We're going to recap the year.
We got 10 awards to hand out. 10 awards.
Let's get to this main event because, I mean, I feel like, in a night of great fights, this fight, kind of was so one-sided. It doesn't really hold up. But
it's weird, though, right? Because it wasn't that one-sided. Like, it was, but it wasn't like if I had to lean a majority on every single round, I would say it was 60-40 Thompson.
Yeah, and I actually had I thought 3 and 5 could have gone either way.
Dude, 3 Neal looked like he was like giving it what he had left. I thought when I watched it live, right? Like I was like, damn, like Jeff Neal, like he knows he's losing the first 2 rounds. Like he's really trying to steal a round here. Wonderboy did a great job to close out 3 though with hard strikes and like was actually kind of trading with him and like. Dude, Wonderboy at every how smart is that guy? How aware is he when he's in a fight? Like every single time he needs something to happen in a specific way, he pursues it to happen that way. It's almost like he can score a fight while he's in it.
That's it. Yeah, he's definitely very aware. I feel like he's not
too much. At the beginning of the 5th round, remember when he hit Neal with like a hard combo and he goes, "You good?"
Yeah.
Don't ask the guy you're fighting, is he good? Throw punches.
I thought Neal was a little bit starstruck. Like I don't think Neal
he was
for
trying
to kill Wonderboy Thompson.
And he got gassed as fuck by the start of round 4.
He's had a nightmare health scenarios of and I was looking on. I saw some article. It was sepsis or something. Like he's had bad shit happen to him this year. Like he was in the ICU at one point. His body this year, his health, actual. So maybe that's why Wonderboy was kind of not trying to really murk him. I don't know.
I mean, Wonderboy's movement looked fantastic, and his counter striking looked really good too. But Jeff Neal just needed to do something, anything.
Yeah. So let's start it out, man. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, ranked 5th, minus 105. No, was he the favorite? Or no,
yeah, underdog minus 105. So essentially a pick 'em. Jeff Neal's, 11 ranking?
11th ranked, but he was a minus 115. Yeah, you know what, though? Not everybody, but people were acting people get so cocky before fights they know what's going to happen. And I know sometimes I do, but
the line movement on this was wild. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson was a huge favorite to open, minus 160. Got bet all the way down to minus 105.
So many people were Neal. Yeah,
this all had to do with Neal being an active fighter in 2020 and having starching power. That's it. You see lines move towards those guys all the time for no reason other than those.
Yeah, man, and man, just people just sleep on Wonderboy. I mean, like I said,
everybody sleeps on Wonderboy. I had a guy at work last night ask me when he saw that one. We won't get there, but he asked me about Wonderboy, and he was like, "What's his deal? Is he a top 5? Where the fuck does he fit in this division?" And I was like, "Dude, he's the gatekeeper to top 5. He will always defend the top 5 rankings for 170."
And the thing about Wonderboy, though, and I don't care who you put him in there with, especially at 170. I mean, I'm not saying he matches up well against everybody, but I'm saying there's a path to victory for
always
in the
every
cage.
fight.
Especially if he's not. That 25 cage, I think, does him a disservice too.
Hugely so. If he gets a 30-foot cage, I think he embarrasses Jeff Neal. Yeah, because his movement, his angles, and the way he evaded shots and shit, and set up his own counterattacks was crazy in a 25-foot cage where he really had to move off the fence so often. Can you imagine a 30-foot cage when he can back up 2 extra steps and lead him in on shots? He might fucking starch Jeff Neal.
That cage was noticeably restricting his movement. He kept running into it. A Wonderboy, for those who don't know, he's a stay on the outside technical striker, and so it just severely limited his effective ability to do that. Even though he still did a great job of it, but it would have been even better in a bigger cage for sure. And just so you know, got to just keep it a buck here. We're dealing with real life scenarios. My AirPods are at 10%, so let's go through these rounds real quick and
let's do
wrap her up.
Let's do it.
Well, actually, so let's. let's not go round by round because really the whole fight.
I think the whole
Wonderboy
fight is
just
one big round.
outpoints him.
It's
Yeah,
just
he
one big
outpoints
round,
him.
right? Like did you score every round the same? Because I did. I didn't have one round going to Neal.
Man,
I thought the third and fifth, like you said, were the closest, and I could have leaned third to Neal. Fifth,
Neal got close to winning 3. Like I was shocked that literally nobody gave Neal 3. Like I kind of wanted to, but like it just Wonderboy still outpointed him. But
it's weird, right? Because Wonderboy knows. It's almost like he knows at the end of fights, like where he's like, this round is really close. I need to throw strikes. And he'll start unleashing combinations that are really sick, and like he'll eat some shots, but he'll keep throwing. And like, I really respect that about Wonderboy, to have that presence of mind to know like this round's close. I got to throw a lot and look active to end the round.
The reason why I like Neal in 3 was because he was able to have him clinched up against the
got him pressed against the cage,
close that distance
for 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes almost, like of the whole round. Now, granted, Wonderboy did a good job defending in the clinch, landing shots in the clinch. Like it was an even clinch.
If Neal was able
but
to do
Neal
more
dictated
damage,
the position too, though, right? Like let's not say that Wonderboy wanted to be there because he didn't. Like that's where Neal wanted to be. So I think we need to credit Neal for keeping him there.
No, I do. That's exactly, I'm giving him a lot of credit. Like I could have given Neal 3, like low key because of that.
I could have too. I'm glad you say that because I honestly could have seen 49-46 in this card. I could have seen 48-47 if you liked Neal. Like if you just liked him for some reason.
Exactly, bro.
But realistically, I could see 50-45 as well.
Like if a computer was scoring this fight,
correct?
Yeah, won all 5. I feel you. That's exactly how I felt about it. What's also, we haven't mentioned the accidental clash of heads that resulted in bad cuts for both guys.
Dude, was that first round or second round?
First round, yeah. So they both literally just essentially before the fight started, they could have just like walked up to each of them and cut them with the knife because like as soon as the fight started, essentially like halfway through round 1, they were in a 5-round fight. There was a bad clash of heads.
Neal's orthodox striker. Thompson is southpaw, so it makes sense they're going to clash heads at least once.
Yeah, man. But what in a weird way, this is going to sound like an asshole, but I was so happy that both guys got cut because
both guys got fucked up. Like Stephen Thompson was like, fuck, my face hurts, and it was like bleeding, like split over the eyebrow, like literally right where the eyebrow meets the center line. And then Jeff Neal's cut apparently was terrible, dude. Oh, yeah, it was a horizontal cut along the eyebrow, which is, for anyone that doesn't know, horizontal cuts, way worse than vertical cuts. Why, you might ask? Think about when you pour water over a surface. When you pour it down a line, it drips down a line. When you pour it over an edge, it drips down the edge. So imagine blood running into your whole eye versus one segment of your eye. Going to make a big difference.
Yeah, for sure. But I was so glad both guys took damage because nothing's worse than one guy comes out of it really bad when it was an accident and has like a marked disadvantage.
And honestly, I thought this was like a 50-50 headbutt.
Yeah. No, it was. So both guys came out of it rushed. They said Neal good in 3. Man, just Thompson in round 4 was just clinical. It was like a fucking textbook. And then round 5, man, Neal landed some big shots, but it was kind of like Wonderboy, like kind of not letting him, but like they were standing and trading. They were both trading.
Yeah, and it was almost like Neal's power had diminished to the point where Wonderboy could eat the shots, and Wonderboy was so tired that he couldn't dodge the shots. So it was almost better for him to just throw back instead. This once again goes to what
knee was compromised too in the 5th round.
Dude, so his leg was fucked up. His leg was fucked up, and I don't think Neal realized it until the last like 90 seconds, 2 minutes, if he did it all. But like, I'd have been throwing hard kicks at Wonderboy's leg, bro. And that sounds fucked up, but like, if I feel like I'm losing 3-1 going into the 5th, I'm trying to fucking hurt you no matter what.
And that's what I'm saying. Neal had like too much respect for Wonderboy, like
way too much.
Like, hurt it. They hugged like 8 damn times in that fight. Like literally,
bro, I was getting salty with the sportsmanship. I was getting salty.
10 daps and like 4 hugs. Like literally, it was just like they should have just
like they would call eye shots and nut shots or eye pokes and nut shots before the ref would, and it was like, and then they would each look at each other and be like, "No, I'm good. No, I'm good." It's like just fucking fight, guys. God damn it.
I didn't understand it from Neal's perspective. Like I kind of like
from Neal's perspective. If you're chasing a ranking and you're he was the favorite betting, but like you're not actually favored in like the rankings. do whatever you have to do.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I thought Neal should have fought a much dirtier fight. If that makes me an asshole, then I'm an asshole.
I mean, I think it shows his lack of hunger to win the fight more
Yeah,
than
he just did
anything.
it, and just killer instinct. Like, and we talked about that on the podcast. Like, some guys got it, some guys don't. In all sports, not just fighting. There's the Kobe Bryants. There's
Damian Lillard's. We talked about this last time. It's
Yeah,
great.
yeah,
But it's a great point. It's a great point. Like in the sports world,
Neal
there's certain
don't
guys
got
that no,
I'm sorry.
and that's why he can't be a top 5 guy. Just
he's
straight
not
up.
nasty enough. He's not nasty. Like, he's good. He's a good fighter. Like, he's a good athlete. But I didn't get that nasty, that killer, like zero DS to him at all. Like,
Well, and for anyone that knows me, like I sling steaks in a steakhouse just like Jeff Neal does. So, like, I fuck with Jeff Neal hard, right? Like he does the same thing I do. Yeah, like he does the same thing I do. Like I know his daily struggles almost very, very for real,
Intimately.
right? Like intimately. Great word. Like I live the same life as him for the most part. So for him to be this dominant fighter, like I always want to see him do well, but man, he just did not do near enough to win this fight.
No, he does have a hell of a chin, though. Like, actually, his chin impressed me more than or who did you say should be on all chin? Or
No way you think his chin outrides fucking Pickett's.
You're right. The power on Wonderboy shots, but he ate so many shots, bro. Like, I don't know. His chin impressed the fuck out of me.
Can you imagine how hard chin of the year is going to be as a category to pick? Like with guys like Burgos and Ali Helatang eating the body kicks from Frazeev and like shit like that.
Oh yeah, that was
like. Can you imagine chin of the year? Like next week's going to be a fun fucking episode.
I'm gonna have to dive into the old notebook, man.
Yeah, like this whole week I'm just been getting clips sending to you for these award shows because that way we can all like review our clips, right?
Good looking now.
And if I'm on my shit Thursday, we'll tweet out all the nominations so that Twitter can vote with us as well.
Cool, good idea, man. So gotta just wrap this up. But Wonderboy ended by calling out Masvidal. I love the call out.
Has a win over him. Masvidal has acknowledged multiple times he will fight Wonderboy again because he owes him that fight, because he thinks he should win that fight. And I think Masvidal does win that fight.
And we all know Masvidal has the BMF belt, and then Ariel Helwani gave Wonderboy the NMF belt, the nicest motherfucker. At the end of the fight, he was like, NMF versus BMF, baby. So I love the marketing. I love everything about it. I think Wonderboy gets the win. What about you? Final word.
In a rematch? Yes, I think Wonderboy beats Masvidal because I think Wonderboy is such a skilled technician of a striker that someone that wants to strike with him over a 5-round course in a rematch will not outdo him.
Also, I got it. Maybe the caveat: if it's in the apex, that helps Masvidal a ton.
Where would they fight that? Because like I've heard like Trailblazer Kevin Holland recently said, I don't want to fight on Fight Island. Like he was like, I live in the United States. All these guys that are ahead of me live in the United States. Why would we not fight in the United States? Like, why would we go over there to fight? So he made a blatant point to say, like, I don't want to fight over there. So he likes a small cage.
Yeah. No, yeah.
And I guess that
for Wonderboy, like in Masvidal, I don't know. I think that 25-foot cage helps Mas, and especially after Wonderboy just fought in it. Like, I bet he doesn't want to fight in it twice. Like, I bet. Yeah.
I agree.
I don't know. They can maybe go to like states like Arizona's having a lot of sporting events. Like that's where the Niners moved. Is like Arizona. Florida.
I wonder. You know, because the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines are both approved now. I wonder with like vaccine approval and usage if that's going to start opening up other states.
I mean, maybe a year from now. I don't think it's going to be like that quick.
Well, but you got to understand, though. You live in California. You live in the place where, like bro, quick side note. Anyone that lives in Oklahoma, you'll love this story. All our bars close at 11 p.m., right? Well, not now. Not as of last night and the night before. Reason being, you know Redneck Yacht Club?
Yeah.
Terribly, yeah. I wish you wouldn't, but it's fine. I know about it, too, because I've been there. It's terrible. Anyway, point of the story is...
I turned down like 90 invitations to go there. I was like,
dude, good for you. I've been one time, and I was like, I'll never come back. So, point being, it's a club where they let in 18-year-olds. Anyone that's listening, Yeah, they do that. And then they ID at the bar. No, they don't. And so, like, 18-year-olds go there to get drunk as fuck, right? So, like, they got busted by the Alcohol Liability Exchange Commission, whatever, ABLE Commission, right, is what it's called in Oklahoma for our alcohol liquor laws, right? So they get busted for being open past 11. Well, that's pretty fucking bushy as far as, like, you get a ticket, because then they immediately sue the state of Oklahoma for saying Crest Food Market can be open and sell alcohol at 11:30, like White Claws. Like, I could buy a case of White Claws in there, right? Till 2. So they're saying we can't vend alcohol, but any other establishment can? That doesn't seem fair on a business principle. So right now they're in a court order, court challenge with the state of Oklahoma, Kevin Stitt specifically, because he executive ordered it as a governor. So this is one of those hairy legislative branch is not involved. It's just executive judicial. So they're going to find the common ground. But for now, bars open until 2 a.m. So, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
no, I feel you. I just like, yeah, I mean, they can do it. Yeah, no, those type. I mean, red states are open. Essentially, that's what it is, right? It's red and blue. It's like there's 2 different countries in America. I mean, it's legit. Like red states are an
it's so
option,
weird,
blue
dude.
states aren't.
It's so weird. It's so
Like,
weird.
well, I have the prime example. I just got back from Tahoe. Like, legit, it's on the state line of California and Nevada.
Yeah.
Nevada's a red state. California's a blue state. I think Nevada's a red state. It's a lot more
Close
red than
enough. It's
California.
50-50. It's literally 50-50 from the last election.
Yeah, compared to California, it might as well be Georgia. And like,
Yeah.
but like literally, we are. It's right on the border, and so you drive over the border, and it's like no masks. And then on the California side, it's like all strict. It's like
That's so weird, bro.
Such like a stark difference, like such a stark difference. Yeah, man. I don't know, man. I don't fucking know, dog. Like I don't know. I'm so just mentally exhausted with the whole topic of COVID, man. But hey, this was a great card. Listen, next week we're gonna do our end of the year wrap up, and then I guess we got a few weeks off for once, man. Fucking you can. I don't know. Maybe we can talk some NFL. I don't know. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But yeah, man, it's been a fucking hell of a 2020. So thank you so much for being a part of it, man. Thanks to everybody that's watched.
Bro. Absolutely. So 24 weeks straight of events. Like, obviously there's no event next week. We'll hit 25 next week. 26, really 30, but 26 honestly in consecutive weeks for us. Since July 4th.
How are you saying that it's only 26 if we're on episode 29?
Because we had a week. July 4th was a weekend off for us.
Oh.
Yeah, that we just didn't take note of because it was our 3rd weekend, right? Like, it's, we didn't know what it would be. We didn't know what it would be.
Yeah, for real. How fun is that to think about how far
it is cool. Yeah, like when I think back to it, I'm like, damn, dude, we've done literally, like, this is episode 24 in a row. Like, since July 11th or July 7th. It's one of the two. Because there was a week where they had a Wednesday card. But, yeah, we've every fight we've covered since then. I mean, we've covered every fight since May. Shout out to both of us. Shout out to you, bro. Like, it's dedication. Also, shout out to the listeners. Like, if y'all are with us, like, we appreciate y'all riding with us for real.
Yeah,
hey, 2021's coming up bigger, stronger, better.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Nothing but up from here, man. Go subscribe on YouTube. Thanks so much, everybody. Thank you for your time, bro.
Order a long sleeve Dreadful Talk shirt, bro. Those look nice as fuck. Comfort colors. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they're comfy, bro. Thanks so much, man. You the man.
Yes, sir.